It's a little hard to fathom. And so set to play baseball. First pitch to Infante is taken for ball 1. This is an unusual circumstance where both teams are wearing their alternate jerseys. Black versus blue.
You're very right.
In the air to left field along the line. Sheffield back toward the corner, but it's a foul ball.
Well, if it was a football game and you're a quarterback, you wouldn't be able to tell the defense from the offense.
Well, you'd have to have different colored helmets. But this is, I believe that there is supposed to be some kind of arrangement between equipment managers so this does not happen. Happens in spring training, but in a regular season game, you shouldn't have two teams with dark uniforms like this.
Thank you.
Towards shortstop, and Reyes there to play the hop. Throws out Infante for the first out of the game. So 1 out and nobody on.
Well, pitching's the name of the game, Gare, and the Mets' early woes in April were due to the fact that Maine and Pelfrey kind of got off sluggishly. And now that they've picked it up, Pelfrey, of course, now with 3 good starts in a row, Maine 2. Boy, with Levon Hernandez with 2 good starts, well, there you go. And with this offense, you're going to win ball games.
Here's Yunel Escobar attacking the first pitch fastball. Escobar having a terrific series, 5 hits in the first 2 games.
There's John.
And John is not going to fly ahead of the team to San Francisco. He'll go with them tonight and then start the opener of the series against the Giants, who are playing very, very well. The Giants are 4 games over 500. They had a dramatic win last night. They were down by a run, 2 out and nobody on in the bottom of the 9th, got a couple of men on and a walk-off 3-run homer, and the Giants have won 15 of their last 21. And so it's a hot team that Maine will face tomorrow night. Off the corner to Escobar, 2-1.
And another team much like St. Louis last year, where everybody just kind of broke from spring training and said the Cardinals might lose 100 games.
Well, the one thing the Giants can do, and you knew this going into the season, is they can pitch. I mean, with guys like Lincecum and Kane and Randy Johnson and Cito and Jonathan Sanchez, their starting rotation is very solid. 3-1 to Escobar, and he walked him. And so the Braves have the first base runner of the game. Well, the Dodgers got off to the great start in the National League West, but they have gone 1-4 since Manny Ramirez was suspended, and so they've come back to the pack a little bit. And the Giants really the only team in position to take advantage of that, just 3 games out. And the Mets will have 4 games in San Francisco starting tomorrow night. So here's Chipper Jones, 2 for 4 last night after missing the first game of the series with a hyperextended elbow. Chipper played his first game at Citi Field last night. A guy who loved playing at Shea, but last night after hitting a fly ball 410 feet that was caught, not quite feeling the same. Hits this one to a similar spot in right center. This one's not going to be caught off the base of the wall. Escobar got a good read. He's around third and heading home, and he'll score without a throw. It's an RBI double for Chipper Jones, and the Braves are up 1-0.
Well, you know, what can I tell you? Just such a beautiful swing. Using that black bat from the right side of the plate, right down the pipe fastball. That's a ball that you can pull or go the opposite field, and he hits it in the same spot, but off the base of that Geico sign. And an RBI double.
Well, if he was playing at Shea, Chipper would have 2 home runs in this series. But at Citi Field, he has an out and a double. Now Garrett Anderson, one of 3 left-hand hitters in the lineup today against Jonathan Neese. Anderson 1 for 4 in this series, and he's late on that fastball, 0-1.
One thing I've noticed about Anderson, you know, he's always hit, and he's off to a tough start. He's had some injuries in spring training. He's yet to get untracked. But one thing defensively, he does not cover a lot of ground in left field. And it puts a lot of pressure on Jordan Schaefer, the youngster out in center. It was really a fine talent if he can ever hit.
Matt Dye is on deck. Dye is getting a start in right field today, and he's not a particularly good outfielder either. So the Braves off to the fast start. They got a run in the first inning in the opening game of the series, and they have a first inning run up today.
Jonathan Neese, as always sporting those stockings. He's showing his socks. Those pants up high. He's got a good fastball.
And we're seeing from Nice what he did in his last start against the Pirates, throwing a lot of fastballs early in the game.
I think that is the philosophy of Dan Warthen, the pitching coach for the Mets. Establish the fastball, and I've seen the Mets pitch consistently inside this season.
Right through the wickets on Nice and into center field. And Chipper will score. It's an RBI single for Garrett Anderson, and it's 2-0 Atlanta.
Well, pretty good pitch right here, Garrett. Up and in fastball. I want to see if we got it in enough. Wants it away. Oh, too much plate right down the pipe. Not a good pitch. Good hitting by Anderson. And Chipper's going to score right through the wickets.
So 4 batters into the game. The Braves have a 2-0 lead. And Nice has already given up as much as he did in his first start. Now he'll take on Matt Diaz, who had the big hit in the game on Friday night in a 1-1 ball game. Pedro Feliciano was left in to face Diaz, and he drove home 2 with a base hit. Diaz, over the course of his career, has just torn up left-handed pitching.
Well, he's a hitter, and for him to be effective, you look at Chipper, future Hall of Famer right there, and that's going to be in the first ballot. He is, what a career he's had.
He beats him with a high fastball, and it's 0-2.
Don't want to chase the high one. He knew it too. You can see the expression on his face after he started his swing.
And he gets him, same spot. So Nice has his first strikeout, and that's the second out of the inning.
Well, if they're going to swing at it, just keep throwing it up that ladder until they stop. You can't hit this pitch. It's too much out the strike zone.
Is there some deception involved on Nice's ball?
I think he's got some giddy up and some. I like his fastball, Gary. I always have. I like his fastball similar to John Main's, where it's got life upstairs.
Here's Martin Prado getting the start at first base. Casey Kochman started the first 2 games, and a letter high strike. Prado hitting at .297. This is the 8th game he started this year. He started the opening game of this series at third base. And Nice paints with the fastball, and it's 0-2.
Guys on that fastball, Omir Santos, who caught him in the minors, caught him in the spring, told me his last start, best fastball he's seen from Nice by far. So it's obviously some improvement there from him.
First curveball he's thrown, and Prado fouls it off.
That was almost like an excuse me swing there. Got completely fooled.
Well, that curveball is Nice's out pitch. And when we saw him last year, he was throwing it a lot early in games. Game plan has changed a little bit. Goes back to the fastball, gets the ground ball, and Reyes with the flip to end the inning. But the Braves off to the fast start. A 1-out walk hurts Nice because Chipper Jones catches 1 run with a long double to center field. And Garrett Anderson right back through the originator makes it 2-0 Atlanta as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first. starting lineup. Luis Castillo, who had the game-tying sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter last night, back in the lineup today. Carlos Beltran, who leads the league in hitting. Ryan Church gets a start today against a left-hander hitting 8th. And Jose Reyes leads off and takes a strike against Jojo Reyes.
Well, Jojo Reyes has had a real tough time of it. He has got a 9-game losing streak going on right now, and that dates all the way back to June 23rd in 08. He's 0-1 lifetime against the Mets in 3 starts with an ERA of almost 9. So the Mets have treated him rather rudely.
And Jose Reyes especially. He rips one toward the left field corner, and that's going to settle in for an extra base hit. And Jose cruises into second base with a leadoff double. Jose is now 4 for 6 against Jojo Reyes with 2 home runs.
Well, you can see no movement on the fastball. Reyes right over the top. Jojo, that is. And Jose, who's been swinging a hot bat all over that fastball. Remember, I think of Jojo. I think of Jojo White, the old Celtics star. Wrong sport. Well, there's where he wanted it. He got it inside, but more up. And we said last night, more mistakes are up than down.
So now Castillo with the corners pinching in. And he lifts one to shallow right. That'll fall for a base hit. Reyes got a good start. He'll be waved home. It goes by Diaz to the corner. Castillo on his way to third. Castillo being waved around and now held by Razor Shines. It's a triple for Castillo, bringing home Jose Reyes. And just like that, the Mets get one of those 2 runs back.
Well, a little blooper here, and Diaz just totally muffs this ball. And this is his first start in right field, Gary, this season. He is a left fielder. And once Luis sees it get by him, he gets on his horse. And with this big ballpark, they add another triple onto the Mets league leading.
That's 15 triples now for the Mets. Now the tying run at third for Beltran with the infield back. He takes a strike. Beltran 3 for 8 in this series. Last night scored the tying run after stealing third in the 9th, and then drove in the winning run with a bases loaded walk in the 10th. And Reyes misses badly with the off-speed pitch, 1-1.
Well, Reyes, Jojo, that is for someone that throws 88, 87 miles an hour, you're not going to get away with a straight fastball. You need some sort of movement on the ball, and he's right over the top, true, like a dart thrower.
The Braves have got a lot of good young pitching at AAA, including Tommy Hanson, who's gotten a lot of attention. 3-1 now to Beltran, but Bobby Cox has been very adamant about continuing to give Jojo Reyes opportunities. He keeps saying that Reyes is just right there on the edge of turning the corner. But every time we've seen him, there's been no evidence of it, as Beltran draws a walk, and now the Mets have first and third and nobody out.
Well, the Braves defense, Martin Prado at first base, only his 4th start at first base. And of course, Diaz's first start out in right field. The corner outfield positions are a bit shaky as far as ground coverage. A lot of pressure on the center fielder.
So now Gary Sheffield hitting cleanup for the 4th time this year, getting the start in left field today. Sheffield 0 for 2 in this series, coming off the bench. And he takes a strike from Reyes. Gary, who spent 2 years in the prime of his career with the Atlanta Braves.
And you see the defense right there. Garrett Anderson, but in left field, he just kind of like parks in one spot. Plays everybody like a right-hand pull hitter out there in left field. Just leaves that huge gap when you got Schaefer playing straight up. And there's Anderson over here. Look at this. This is just, that wasn't a tornado. That was just a huge gap.
The white tornado. Chop to the left side. That'll get the run in. Chipper gets the out at second. The relay by Infante in time for the double play as Castillo comes home with the tying run. Not a very hard hit ball, but the Braves still able to turn the 5-4-3 double play as the Mets get the game even.
Well, Gary continues to struggle to play. Nice play by Chipper, coming and getting the short hop. Nice turn by Infante. Sheffield, of course, doesn't run like he used to.
So no RBI for Sheffield. The Mets have tied the game at 2-2, but most importantly for Jojo Reyes, now the bases are clear and he takes on David Wright. And David takes a strike. Howard Johnson trying to provide a little counsel.
Saying he's got too much motion. But you know what? That's the way Sheffield's always hit. He's always had that wiggle with his hands and a big leg kick and a little bit of the hitch, and he just hasn't got his timing.
Well, it's something you and I talked about when Sheffield first came over here, Keith, whether a guy at the age of 40 could afford to have as much movement as Sheffield has traditionally had as a concession to age.
And how are you going to get a guy that's hit that way his whole life change?
Chipper Jones handles the ground ball from right, and that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the first, but they quickly get even. Reyes double, Castillo triple, and the Mets and Braves are tied at 2. For more highlights, interviews, and analysis of tonight's game on Lincoln Mercury Post-Game Extra. Hey, Keith and I will be on that. After every Mets game, only on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Well, Jonathan Neese gave up a couple in the top of the first. The Mets got the 2 right back, so he's able to start fresh with David Ross leading off in the second inning. Ross doing the catching today. Did a very good job while Brian McCann was on the disabled list. Really impressed Bobby Cox with not just his hitting. You see he's got some good offensive numbers, but more especially the way he handled the team. And it led Bobby to say that David Ross is going to be a major league manager one of these days.
Really?
Yep.
Well, he's got a very strong arm behind the plate. The offense has always been his problem, but as you said, he's hit safely in 14 of his 15 games.
He's got a lot of power. He had that one year with Cincinnati, he hit 21 home runs. Curveball misses, and it's 2-2. There's so many guys who have been backup catchers who wind up being major league managers. And Neese gets him with the off-speed pitch. Second strikeout for Jonathan.
Well, good spot right here. Little late. Oh, beautiful. Little late sink. Nice pitch. Well, it's a beautiful day, is it not?
Some blues, some white high cirrus clouds.
Oh, very good.
Murph taught me all about clouds. Did you know that Murph was a meteorologist in the Navy?
Really?
There's a strike to Schaefer. Taught me a lot about cumulus clouds, nimbocumulus, stratocumulus.
Nimbus. Whatever they're called. Cumulus nimbus.
Schaefer lifts one to left in Sheffield, looking through the sunglasses. for the second out. You ever play with anybody, backup catcher who wound up being a manager, a guy who you knew when you were playing had that kind of future ahead of him?
Well, I think that it's not so much the backup catchers. It's usually the guy that's the bench player that can focus on what a manager's doing. If that's what he wants to do is manage, and he's a part-time player, he can sit on the bench and sit near the manager and find out why he's doing this and pay attention to that part of the game. Whereas if you're a regular everyday player, you've got to be focused on the game at hand. You can't be worrying about what the manager is doing, why he did that. So there's strike 3 right there. So that's why I think a lot of part-time players, whether they're catchers, infielders, or outfielders, become managers.
And I think the Mets have one of those in their dugout in Alex Cora. Middle of the second at Citi Field. Mets and Braves tied at 2. To have come to the ballpark today at Citi Field for Fitness Education Day. There's a whole program for the kids before the game about nutrition and fitness, and they learned a lot and now get to enjoy the baseball game. And there's been plenty to watch already. A 2-2 game as we play the second. Fernando Tatis will lead off the home second. Tatis starting again at first base. Took an 0 for last night, but he has really been swinging the bat well.
Well, he can hit. I think he's a better hitter now than he's ever been in his career. And, you know, he was the lost man in that Met ball club in April. And, boy, when Delgado went down initially with the hip, he went in there and got some playing time, boy, and he just got it in gear.
And it would appear that there is a lot more playing time forthcoming as he hits one to right field. Diaz moving over. And he tracks this one for the first out, because it is seeming more and more as though not only that Delgado is going to wind up on the disabled list, but that this is a fairly serious problem that the Mets are going to have to deal with all year. In fact, Jerry Manuel said today, while acknowledging that, you know, he's no medical expert, that he was not optimistic about Delgado being able to avoid having this bother him all year.
Well, when they start talking about who's going to play first, and they mentioned Jeremy Reed, Cora, Murphy may be going over there. That means they're grasping at apples, and even the talk of what Mike Lamb down in AAA and Ramon Martinez.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that if you go back to spring training, the guy who didn't make the ball club, who you figured was going to be the first call up if the Mets needed an extra first base outfielder type, would have been Nick Evans. But Evans has gotten off to the most horrendous of starts, to the point where they pulled him out of AAA, sent him down to extended spring training, and when Evans is ready to go, they're going to send him back to AA. He was hitting under 100.
Now, the thing about that, folks, is when you struggle, and 093 is struggling, and that's off the interstate in the negative direction.
Castro lifts one to right. Another chance for Diaz. Flips the glasses down and retreats. And he makes the play on the warning track. 2 out.
You know, usually, to finish my point, is you get sent down to AA. They sent young Nick Evans down to extended spring training. And that's some serious problems that he's having there. They want him to get in a situation where he can get a lot of BP before they send him down to Double A. They want him to get into a situation where he can hit on some powder puff pitching, get some confidence back. He must really be messed up.
But here's the thing, Keith. How can that happen? We saw Nick all through spring training. I mean, for 6 weeks, he did nothing but hit. He hit for power. He used the whole field. He looked great. And then from the very start of the AAA season, he didn't hit a lick.
Sometimes I wonder, you know, Nick got a taste of the big leagues last year and did well. And disappointment not making the ball club. He was one of the last guys cut. And not being able to fight through the disappointment. And maybe it has an effect. Now, this could be a lesson to him. That I don't know if it was because Nick was disappointed and downhearted that it affected his play. But with Delgado hurt, if he's down there hitting 250, he's up.
Yep. Church hits one to center field. Schaefer got a bad read on it. Now racing back, and he made the catch. Oh, wow. What a recovery by Jordan Schaefer, who got a terrible read on the ball, but was able to recover and use his speed to run it down. Boy, what a series this kid has had with the glove. That's a tremendous play. Took an extra base hit away from Ryan Church to end the inning. And Schaefer showing why he's staying in the lineup despite not hitting at all. Keeps it a 2-2 game. Fastest 3G network, your world, delivered. Jojo Reyes delivering some long fly balls in that last inning at 90 miles an hour. Jonathan Neese has dialed it up to 92. Neese has struck out 3 through the first 2 innings, and he takes on the top of the Braves batting order in the 3rd.
Well, poor Ryan Church, you're mired in a slump when you hit a ball, a rocket that's out at Shea. But, you know, we're not at Shea anymore, and have a young center fielder run it down. That was a terrific catch.
Feel like Toto, not in Kansas anymore. Omar Infante grounded out to short his first time up. Inside, and that gets away. 1-1. Now Escobar on deck, and then Chipper Jones in the top of the 3rd. Each team got a pair of runs in the first inning. Oh boy, that's 2 in a row to the backstop. Says it all.
Did he slip there? You look back at the mound. You see that he's got that little fastball he likes to throw where it tails away. I like that one. And then the one prior was one that kind of cut inside.
That one catchable, but still out of the strike zone. 3-1. Nice has walked one, and that one came home to score. And there's a strike. 3-2. Jonathan Nice, just 22 years old, out of Defiance, Ohio. That's drafted him in the 7th round in 2005, and he gets Infante swinging. 4th strikeout for Nice. Nice comeback after falling behind.
Well, the old fastball upstairs, and if you're the other opposing team, you're paying attention. It's got to be, guys, make him get his fastball down.
Here's Escobar, walked his first time up. Escobar hitting .354 in the month of May after a slow start. He came up with a bang 2 years ago. He tailed off a little offensively last year, but he is really settling in as a frontline player with the Braves.
Oh, I've always liked him. The rap on him was a little bit lazy, but I think that Bobby Cox kind of took care of that. When you remember Andrew Jones when he first came up, Bobby Cox benched him after he didn't run out of ball. Bobby's a stickler on hustle.
Oh, he did. Bobby did with Andrew Jones what Gil Hodges did with Cleon Jones. He walked out to the outfield and took him out in the middle of an inning after he failed to properly run after a fly ball. Ball 4, and so Escobar is on for the 2nd time in front of Chipper Jones. Not what Nice wanted to do. Jonathan Nice, before the Mets drafted him, was all set to go to the University of Cincinnati to play baseball, but decided to sign with the Mets. Can you think of a pretty good left-hand pitcher who went to the University of Cincinnati to play basketball? That would be Sandy Koufax, who, by the way, is Nice's idol.
Well, why not?
If you were a left-hand pitcher, whom else to be your idol? Chipper hit one off the center field fence for a double to drive in a run in the 1st, and it's low and inside, 1-1.
Chipper first ball fastball hit the first time up in the 1st inning. That opposite field double, and Nice not phased. Has come after Chipper with 2 fastballs. We gave that one away, that changeup. He kind of goosed it in his motion.
Chipper now with 411 career home runs, 3rd on the all-time list among switch hitters, trailing only Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray. On 2-1, Chipper hits one toward the gap in left center. That's going to split him and go to the wall. Escobar on his way to 3rd as Beltran does a nice job playing the carom, and that'll keep the run from scoring. But the Braves have runners at 2nd and 3rd as Chipper Jones picks up his 2nd double of the day.
Well, Escobar did not get a good read in this ball. There was no way that Beltran was going to get to this ball, and Escobar did the proper thing by being on 2nd base, but he got a late break. He should have known right there that that ball's uncatchable. And that let up right there around the base is the difference in him scoring. And there's the differential. You can see, we always say, miss up in the middle.
Your IOTV pitch differential. So now 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. The Mets will play the infield back for Garrett Anderson, who drove in a run his first time up. Anderson hit one right through the 5-hole on Jonathan Nice.
And you know, Garrett, not to nitpick here, but if Escobar gets a good read and there's a play at the plate and Reyes throws home on the relay, Chipper may advance to 3rd on the throw home. Those are all the little things in a game that make a difference. You know, you need a sacrifice fly then to get another runner in and get 2 runs home instead of a base hit to get 2.
Well, Nice could really use a strikeout here. He's ahead 0-2 on Garrett Anderson. Hit hard, base hit left field. Escobar scores. Chipper had to hold up. He'll stop at third, and the Braves regain the lead. Garrett Anderson's second RBI hit of the day, and it's 3-2 Atlanta.
Well, a good pitch here. 0-2. But not a good pitch. 0-2. Excuse me. There's no need to throw a strike. Hitters are always going to protect. 0-2, you're always going to protect. So where are you most vulnerable? Even though he's got his fanny flying, he kept his hands back. You're always going to be vulnerable inside 0-2, not away if you're protecting the plate.
So 3-2 Atlanta. First and third for Diaz, who shoots one up the middle, and that'll bring home another one. Chipper Jones in to score, and it's 4-2 Atlanta. So things not going well here in the third inning for Jonathan Nice. Pretty much a repeat of the first inning.
Well, too many pitches, belt high, and over the middle. Nice little sinker he tried there, but had too much plate. And these aren't soft hits. These are rockets. And that's going to get Warthen out there to talk to him. Much like Sid Fernandez, Garrett. Sid, we've already seen Nice very effective upstairs.
Right.
Sid was great from the letters up and on the knees when he threw one rarely in the knees. Sid got hurt mid-thigh to belt. That's where Sid got hurt. And that's the same thing with Nice. He's been getting hurt around the belt level.
Well, the confusing thing about Nice so far today is that he has almost not thrown his curveball at all, even this second time through the batting order, which is when he unleashed it against the Pirates. And after Dan Warthen visits, let's see if he starts to throw it a little more. Here's Prado. Yeah, and part of the problem, of course, is that the Braves are jumping him early in the count.
So this is also the second time through the order, or they got a beat on him. Got to pitch inside.
Prado takes on the outside corner of the changeup, 1-1. He's thrown a lot more changeups, which is his third best pitch than his curveball.
I think he's tipping his changeup with his delivery. I could just see something different. See how he kind of gooses it. And when you slow that arm motion down, that means you don't have the confidence to throw that changeup. Because the key to the changeup is throwing it like a fastball. You give it away in the arm motion, that's Western Union. It's Candygram to Mongo for a hitter.
Mother's Day is over. 2-2 to Prado. See if he tries to put him away with his curveball now. Right back to the fastball. It tips right to Reyes, and he's there to turn the double play. Perfectly directed off Nice's glove for the 1-6-3 double play, but the Braves get two more and lead it 4-2. Special guest with us in the booth, and nobody ever usually hears him when it's still light out, but Steve Summers is with us. Steve, how are you?
Well, I'm good, guys, and it's like Dracula. I mean, I in the daytime with the sun and the sky and the whole thing. What's not good is 4-2, but thank you guys for having me in. It's a pleasure.
That's very good. You didn't even write that ad lib, did you?
Yes, I did, but I memorized it.
Well, I know Keith is very fond of getting in the car. He has that long drive out to Long Island after the game, and he always tells me that he sits in the car and listens to your monologue after the game because it's entertaining. You're an entertaining guy.
Well, because I'm not afraid to make a fool out of myself and do frequently. But I'm more than flattered that you guys are listening on the way home. That means a lot. Seriously, it's nice to know somebody's there. Somebody like you guys.
Know what I'd love you to do? I would love you to do a show where you don't take any calls and you just do straight monologue.
Yeah. I was thinking of doing a monologue tonight about Manny being mommy. And it's a good thing, by the way, that Manny Ramirez is not taking any of these, or A-Rod is not taking any of these fertility drugs. Otherwise, we might refer to him as double A-Rod. but you know as well as I, that Manny doesn't want to really be Franny, and we can understand that, why he's doing what he's doing. You think there's a lot of material with that guy?
Here's Reyes with one out, and he takes ball one. Steve, in all honesty, I mean, you do the most incredibly nuanced, funny monologues every night, and you do them off what has happened in games that night. How do you get that stuff done? Where do the ideas come from, and how do you put those things together?
It comes from watching and listening to the games, be it with radio and with you guys. I mean, sometimes your insight and your expertise, whether it's Ron and Keith with their analysis, whether it's with your comments, whether they are sidums, whether they are major points of the game, certainly they are something that I can embellish and have some fun with if it's there. But I know, and you guys know too, because you're being so kind, not all of the monologues work. Some of them are a little bit flat. But sometimes so are the Mets on a given night or a given day. And so the monologues will pretty much be written by the Mets themselves if I'm following a Met game.
Reyes draws the one-out walk.
Tell me, you follow, obviously. What's your impressions thus far with the Metsies?
Well, I mean, obviously, they're not what they were in April. In April, we were worried about passion and energy and good fundamental baseball and the starting pitching and hitting with runners in scoring position. And all of a sudden, instead of May appeared, and the Mets started playing better baseball. And you get with the better starting pitching. See, I don't believe in the pitch count. I guess I'm at the old school. I thought Santana ought to go at least finish the seventh inning. The sixth, what was it? He went 6 1/3, I think it was. So at least he should have finished the seventh inning. And then last night, you had Pelfrey only with the 95, 96 pitches. So why doesn't maybe he go one more inning? And you're giving at least, you're not afraid to use the bullpen, but maybe you're giving somebody an extra breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I was a little confused about Pelfrey last night, but you had a pretty good take playing it off Roy Halladay's complete game last night.
Yeah, that's right. And Roy Halladay. Well, I mean, obviously in Canada, where men are men and women are glad to have them. And in Canada, they go and they finish what they start, like a real pitcher already. Like somebody from the old days who used to go from the first inning to the ninth inning, it's a complete game. And here was Halladay effortlessly and only threw a little over 100 pitches. And it's a complete game. And I know last year he had 9. And, listen, this was his first from last night, the first complete game. But what a shame beating the Yankees. Oh, it broke my heart.
I can see it's tearing you up.
I can't. It was just, I didn't think I'd get through the program. But, I wish my father could see me here sitting with you two. You know how proud he would be. He was proud when I got a job.
Escobar turns the double play despite Reyes going on the pitch. Can you stay with us, Steve?
Of course.
Oh, good. We'll have Steve with us for another half inning. That one went way too quickly. We go to the 4th at Citi Field. The Braves leading 4-2. You know that all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. 4 games in San Francisco. Steve, that's your old stomping ground.
Yes, and you guys know because you've been to their new ballpark. You walk the hallways of the press area, and you see the old New York baseball giants. You see more of Carl Hubble than you're going to see of William McCovey. You bring up Keith McCovey all the time because you and I both remember what a power he was. Yes. What a force he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those Giant teams just had great hitting, always had great outfielders. And in the old days, you remember when Willie Kirkland was the fourth outfielder.
Man, they had a Leon Wagner at one time, too.
And Mays in center, of course.
Willie Kirkland. How old are we, by the way, Gary? What is it?
I was just watching the 1962 World Series highlight film recently. What a great World Series that was.
My dad got tickets for me for Game 1 and Game 7 of that series.
David Wright throws out David Ross.
And David Ross, well, I mean, who are these Braves? They're not the same as they used to be.
No.
I heard a Kevin Burkhardt interview yesterday with Larry Jones about how he misses what he used to have with the Mets. And it's now with the Phillies and the Mets, and not with the Braves and the Mets anymore. Larry was so upset about that call at third base last night. I was so unhappy for Larry. Really, weren't you just breaking down listening to him? It was so, I got a very emotional listening to Larry complain about what was basically a bad call because he did look to be out on the replay.
Jordan Schaefer lifts one to center, and Beltran drifting over for the second out. Well, he said the Braves had played a perfect game and had it taken away from them.
Yeah,
I can see you're in tears.
Yeah, I am. What a shame for Larry and the Braves to lose. To the Mets especially. Oh.
You miss John Rocker, don't you?
I don't get it. But this is a beautiful ballpark. It's my third time now, and it's beautiful. Are you guys finding your way around comfortably?
Have you been out to the Shake Shack yet?
No, not yet. I understand the line is a long one.
Yes. Three innings worth.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Well, nowadays, listen, you come here to eat. You may not even be a baseball fan. You can come to eat. I saw you the other night at the taco stand.
I was there. Floyd's Tacos I love. I had to go park myself out there. My producer, Greg. Oh, well, there's strike 3. So we'll end that thought.
Hey, Steve, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you guys for having me.
And you can listen to Steve every night on WFAN after we get done.
I do.
Thanks a lot, guys. Very, very much. I'm big fans. Thanks again.
See you, Steve.
Love you guys. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
4-2 Atlanta's. By Budweiser, the great American lager.
Good old time at the ball yard.
Well, after the game today is the senior stroll. All
that's
senior
right.
citizens will be able to take a walk around the bases after the game today. That's a great promotion. So you got the kids and the seniors. As Beltran leads off the home fourth and takes ball one.
How old do you have to be considered a senior?
I think in this case they said 60 or over, so it's a loose designation.
So I'm just right around the corner for me.
You're getting there. You've got another grandchild coming, don't you?
Yes, my oldest daughter, their second, and they found out it's going to be a boy, and they'll be in September. A September baby, and we're going to be in Denver. She lives in the Denver area in late August, so she'll be very close to having that child when we visit the Rockies.
You going to be in the room?
No.
3-0 to Beltran.
There's a story I wish I could tell you on the air. My first child, Melissa, but I won't.
Now you've teased us all.
Hang with him.
Beltran walked his first time up, and he walks again. 4 pitches from JoJo Reyes. His third walk of the afternoon, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate with Gary Sheffield. The exasperated look on Bobby Cox's face says it all.
No, he's already on the phone. Bobby Cox wants this series, and that's going to get Roger to go out there and just give that pitcher out there a chance to get loose. We always said, Gare, leadoff walks. What's the percentage? I think it's probably increased over the years. But
well, there's the average so far this year. If the leadoff batter walks, the team score 45% of the time.
That's low.
It is low.
Yep. Usually I always thought
over 50.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what we've seen an increase in, it seems, this year. Bases loaded walks.
Oh boy, that's embarrassing.
And there have already been 4 game-ending bases loaded walks, and the Mets have been involved in 2 of them. The extra inning game in Philadelphia where Sean Green walked Victorino, and then the game last night. So now Sheffield, who bounced into a double play his first time up. Beltran aboard and nobody out.
Well, one thing JoJo Reyes does fairly well, he's quick to home plate. He hasn't got much of a move to first, but he's very fast home and gives his catcher a chance to throw runners out. That's not
keeping an eye on Beltran.
That's not a very good move. That's not going to fool me. But the fact that he goes home quickly gives David Ross a chance to throw the runners out.
And Ross has a good arm. There's a strike to Sheffield. Well, JoJo Reyes is in one of those Anthony Young modes where it really doesn't matter what he does. He finds ways to lose games. I mean, he's not quite where Anthony was. I mean, he lost 27 in a row with the Mets. Sheffield lines one into center field, and that'll fall. Base hit for Sheffield, and the Mets have the tying runs on base. So there's the third hit off Reyes.
Well, one thing I remember about Anthony Young, they're probably not very happy now. Right down Broadway. Hits it right where it's pitched. Love Sheffield's swing. I know he's struggling. It's a matter of his timing, but the stroke is still the same, and he's always been a level swinger, and that's why he's had such a great career.
You were saying about Anthony Young?
Oh, you know, he was in the middle of that streak, and he walked around like he was Sandy Koufax.
Well, he got a lot of fame for it. You know, he went on Carson, he went on Letterman.
It's like, what have you done? You've lost 18 in a row.
Right, lifts one down the right field side, and that'll go out of play.
He was Mr. Big League.
Yep.
That and the outfielder in the came over with Kemp.
You're talking about Ryan Thompson.
Ryan Thompson was another guy that walked around Mr. Big League and didn't have the numbers.
Well, Dallas Green had the best line about Ryan Thompson. He said of Ryan, he can talk 400.
I liked Ryan. I liked Ryan very much, and I liked Anthony.
So Reyes struggling, so Buddy Carlisle gets up in the bullpen.
Remember when Buddy Carlisle was called up a couple years ago, I believe. He was primarily a starter in his minor league career.
Wright grounded out to third his first time up. Tying runs on base and nobody out. Mets down 4-2 in the fourth. And Wright fouls another one. 0-2.
Well, David right here is trying to go the other way, and there's certain times, Gary, you know, Whitey Herzog always stressed getting the runners over. But every once in a while, Whitey would say, when you get in the on-deck circle in a situation, he'd say, go up there and hit. Don't just hit the ball where it's pitched. Don't worry about getting them over. Just knock them in.
Up and away. Ross throwing behind Sheffield, and he just got the hand back in. Now that's sneaking in behind him.
That's a play that's given by the first baseman. And the catcher, it has to be a counter sign. It was always a bare fist from me on my throwing hand to Gary Carter. He just did get back. And Gary would answer with a fist in his squat position with his throwing hand fist. If you didn't get the counter sign, then there was no pickoff. And then the first baseman breaks, of course, with the pitch. You kind of vacate to get to the bag for the pickoff. Try to sneak behind the runner.
2-2 now to Wright. And now it's 3-2. So David, after getting in a hole, has worked his way back.
We've seen Reyes, JoJo Reyes, get ahead of so many hitters and go 3-2.
A 9-game losing streak for Reyes covers 16 starts. 3-2. They don't run, and Wright grounds one foul.
Just kind of a lazy breaking ball, too. This is just a helicopter. No, it's not a helicopter. It's just there's no bite to it. Just like an airplane doing a bank.
Gentle bank.
Yes. Nice to hit.
Again, the 3-2. Hit to center field, fading fast. It'll fall for a base hit. They'll try not to hold up to make sure. He'll stop at third, and the Mets have the bases loaded and nobody out. So David Wright with his first hit of the afternoon, and the Mets have him loaded.
A little fortunate here off the end of the bat, David, out in front. And Schaefer got a little bit of a late break, and that was the difference there. And Beltran's not sure what's going to happen here. He doesn't want to get doubled up. Nobody out. Don't get doubled up.
Well, that's going to be all for JoJo Reyes. Bobby Cox has seen enough, not only in this start, but over the last 17 starts now from Reyes. That even with a 4-2 lead, he's not going to leave him around to have the roof cave in on him. And so Buddy Carlisle's going to come on in long relief here in the 4th inning. Braves go into their bullpen. The Lincoln Mercury called to the bullpen. Mets primed to try and get back in this, down 4-2 in the 4th. Thursday, May 28th at the Mets Foundation Teammates in the Community fundraiser presented by Gatorade. To be part of this exclusive evening, go to MetsFoundation.org or call 718-803-4074 for your tickets. And JoJo Reyes done after 3 innings plus in favor of Buddy Carlisle, who comes on for the 2nd time in this series.
Well, you see Carlisle's numbers to a lot of hits to innings pitched.
This is the Fernando Tatis 1-0. Beltran is at 3rd, Sheffield at 2nd, Wright at 1st. Nobody out. Tatis, who has 6 career grand slams, including famously once 2 in 1 inning. Hit to center field and hit well. Back goes Schaefer, back near the wall, and it's out of here. Fernando Tatis with a grand slam, and it's 6-4 New York. Tatis's last grand slam came in 2002. 7 years later, he does it again, his 7th career grand slam.
Well, 1-0 fastball right down the pipe and up. And that's one of the deeper parts of the ballpark right there.
Two 2-0 to Ramon Castro.
Well, that closes the book on Mr. Reyes. That's 5 earned runs charged to him. That's a smile right there.
And JoJo Reyes, who left the game with a lead, now is pitcher of record on the short side and in danger of his 10th consecutive loss. There's a strike to Castro, 2-2.
Oh, it'll be very interesting to see. There he is right there.
Second home run of the year for Tatis. He had just 4 RBIs all season. He doubles that in one swing. Still nobody out. And Castro takes low and away.
Well, wants it low and away, and where is it? Upstairs and right down the middle, and that ball is a rocket.
First time we've seen a home run off that particular.
You can see right there in the fat of the bat.
Ball 4, and so Castro's on. So Carlisle, after giving up the grand slam, walks Castro. Tatis's last grand slam came against the Braves back in '02. He hit one off Damian Moss. Here's Church, who was robbed of an extra base hit on an extraordinary play by Jordan Schaefer his first time up. The best sign about that at bat was that Church hit it solidly, and he hit it to left center.
Up the middle, yes.
Carlo still got a debriefing Tatis after that grand slam. 1-1 to Church.
Well, this was a catch back in the 7th that, excuse me, back in the 2nd. What a play. With the wall to negotiate, too. Fearless.
He had taken a bad angle to that ball, and after cutting across the outfield, he did the down and out. One and 2 to Church. On the outside corner, and Church down looking for the first out of the inning.
Borderline outside corner there. Ryan thought it was outside. You know, when things aren't going your way, you don't get those calls.
Ted Merritt, the home plate umpire. So now Neese, who is in the lead for the first time today, grounded out to short. His first time up as he bunts it foul. By the way, if JoJo Reyes winds up the losing pitcher in today's game, he'll be the first Braves starter to lose 10 straight decisions since Pat Jarvis in 1970 and 71.
Pat Jarvis.
Which is fairly amazing when you think about it, considering how many games the Braves lost in the 80s. You would have figured that somebody had a 10-game losing streak in there.
Pat Jarvis was a pretty good pitcher.
Neese with the bunt. Carlisle will go to first. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Castro up to second.
Well, you can see right here the fundamentals of this play. We had him at, oh boy. Where's your catcher saying 2-2?
Gotta know who's running too. That's Ramon Castro out there.
That's called safety first. Much like our cameraman down there, Al, in front of us. He's always safety first.
What do you mean by that? Ball 1 to Reyes, who has doubled and walked today.
Kind of shading Jose a little bit to left center field. Slightly shaded there. You see Schaefer in center field.
Pops this one a mile high. Who's going to take it? The shortstop Escobar, side retired. But the Mets grab the lead with one ferocious swing of the bat. JoJo Reyes leaves the game. Buddy Carlisle comes in. Second pitch. Fernando Tatis meaning business. 415 feet later, it's 6-4 New York.
They're looking for some help at first base. They've gotten it today. Fernando Tatis with a grand slam. And guys, you were talking last night about some of the other options. Alex Cora ended up at first base late in that game last night and had his regular glove on, not a first baseman's glove, as we see. And I talked to him about that today, and he said, well, I tried on Carlos Delgado's glove, not so good. I tried on Fernando Tatis's first base glove, definitely didn't work for me. So I figured if I was going down, I was going down with my own leather. He was out there in the 10th, actually had one of the clubhouse guys go to his car and search for his first base glove, which they found if he went out back there for the 11th. I asked him the last time he played first base. He subbed in a game in Boston in 07, made 2 errors on 1 play. So he didn't have the fondest memories of being back at first base, guys. Let's go back up to you.
The question is, what was the glove doing in the trunk of his car?
Exactly.
I think that's an indication of how surprised he was to end up at first base, guys.
The funny thing is that before the game last night, and this is total coincidence, but I had asked Jerry about Alex Cora playing first base, and he said, well, I heard he could play there, but I've never seen him there. And he ends up there last night, but without his first baseman's mitt.
Well, I'd like to know what good it's going to do him in the trunk of the car.
The 11th inning, that's for sure.
Now Escobar and Chipper Jones to follow here in the 5th inning. 0-2 to Infante toward right field. Long run for Church over toward the corner. He won't get there. Cuts it off nicely. Infante trying for 2, and Church unable to secure it cleanly. And so Infante in with his 4th double of the year.
Well, the ball kind of slices away from Ryan right down the line. Oh, he's in the exchange there. He couldn't get it out. Get it cleanly. He had a chance with his arm to throw out Infante. Well, we talked in between innings, Gary, about Nice right here. Your club gives you a 2-run lead. Shows a chance to show your manager that you give me that lead, I'll hold it.
So now he's facing the troubling part of the batting order for him, and Escobar grounds one out to Castillo. That'll advance the runner. So Infante over to 3rd with 1 out. First time Escobar has been retired today, but a productive out in front of Chipper Jones.
And Chipper Jones 2 for 2, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, and a ribeye steak. It's a typical day for Chipper against the Mets, particularly here in New York.
Before Nice faces him, Dan Warthen heads out to the mound. There is action in the Mets bullpen.
Well, the problem in here is if you're going to pitch around Chipper, you got a 2-run lead. And Garrett Anderson, as you can see those numbers right there, Brian Stokes up in the bullpen. Anderson's hit 2 rockets off Neats also, even though he's a left-hand hitter.
Well, you certainly can't pitch around Chipper here. You got to go after him.
Yes.
The question is, how do you go after him? Mets will play the infield back with a 2-run lead. Infante at 3rd and 1 out. Chipper has hit 3 balls in this series that have just been crushed.
There have been home runs at Shea.
And he has a flyout last night and 2 doubles today. And Neese falls behind him 2-0. The one he hit in the 1st inning today hit the center field fence on the fly.
That's a long way.
To right center field, another one headed toward the gap, but Church playing over that way to make the grab. That'll score Infante. Sacrifice fly for Chipper Jones, and he's looking out at Church, incredulous that Church was playing that far over in right center field.
Well, he's hit a couple balls in the gap out there. I've always said, Garrett, and I feel like a broken record, but I've always felt that the ball hit down the lines is an automatic double. So gap ball hitters, unless you got a dead like Dave Kingman, for instance, of course you'd point it for pull. But take the gaps away from hitters.
Garrett Anderson has another base hit. He's now 3 for 3. Sheffield trying to cut it off, but Anderson easily into second base. So the second double of the inning, and now the Braves have the tying run in scoring position for Matt Diaz, and that'll get Dan Warthen inquiring as to whether Brian Stokes is ready.
Well, does Jerry try to get his young left-hander, keep him in the game, try to get 5 out of him? And so he just signaled to Tatis to go in and have a chat. They're just biding time here. I think that
that's going to be it. So Nice will not get a chance for a win. So both starting pitchers taken out with the lead inside of 5 innings. How often do you see that happen? But Nice will exit 1 out shy of the 5 innings required for a starter to get a win. He'll leave with a 6-5 lead, and Brian Stokes will come on to replace him. So it's been a high scoring affair. We're in the 5th, 6-5 New York, as the Mets go to the bullpen. As Matt Diaz steps in, breaks his bat, lifts one to left. Sheffield has it lined up, and he's got it. So Stokes throws one pitch and gets the 3rd out here in the top of the 5th to hold the lead. Mets will try and add on. We're halfway through. It's 6-5 New York. NFL legend Michael the Playmaker Irvin joins the debate in the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, weekdays at 5:30 only on SNY. Well, Jonathan Nice's day lasts just slightly longer than JoJo Reyes's. 4 2/3 for Nice, 5 runs, 7 hits. Mets with a 6-5 lead as we start the bottom of the 5th. Luis Castillo drove in the first Met run today with a triple. His 2nd and the Mets' 15th triple of the season.
It should have been a single. It was played into a triple by Matt Diaz in right field. And Matt Diaz, his first start in right field, normally plays left field.
Castillo hit that right-handed, now batting lefty against Buddy Carlisle, who gets one in for a strike. Castillo then grounded into a double play in the third inning. It'll be Castillo, Beltran, and Sheffield for the Mets, who got 2 in the first and then 4 on the Tatis grand slam in the fourth. Up and away 3-1. By the way, you know the last Met wearing the number 17 to hit a grand slam?
No.
You.
I hit a grand slam as a Met?
1988 in Atlanta.
Oh, Charlie Palaio.
Yes, very good.
Hanging slider. Hanging slider, 3-1.
Game 2 of the doubleheader. First game of the doubleheader, you also hit a home run. You know who that was off? Same day, 88.
Tell me.
Tom Glavine.
My only one off Tom, and that was a curveball.
Back in the days when he was a curveball pitcher.
Right, he threw me a hanging curve. And that was the day after. Was it a doubleheader?
Yeah. April 26, 1988.
That was the day after my divorce was finalized.
Really? That
Yes,
was
it
that
was.
day, huh?
Absolutely. Took me 3 years to get divorced. So it was an off day the day prior. I stayed back in St. Louis. The team flew on to Atlanta. I stayed in St. Louis so I could sign the papers. I believe it was an off day. Flew in that night and had one of my biggest days of my career.
You probably wish you didn't take that.
Well,
you can't get divorced every day.
Well, I told Marty Noble after that game, I said, maybe I should get divorced every day. I'd be in the Hall of Fame, but I'd be in the Hall of Fame, but I'd be broke.
You're not getting divorced now, I can tell you that.
No.
The lovely Kai will have none of it.
No, well, she's the boss.
Here's Beltran after the leadoff walk, and he's badly fooled by that fastball. 0-1.
I met my match.
She's good. Takes a lot to keep up with you.
I threw the kitchen sink at her, too, let me tell you.
Literally?
Everything.
Did she catch it? Beltran's been up twice, walked both times, and he takes a strike 0-2.
What is that saying? I threw everything at her but the kitchen sink.
Right.
So they don't want anybody to misconstrue that statement.
Beltran began the day leading the National League in batting again, hitting a .374, and he stayed right there with his 2 walks today. Takes high, and it's 2-2. Gary Sheffield waiting on deck. Mets have just 5 hits today, but they lead 6-5. Struck him out. Beltran will be twixt in between in that at bat. Second strikeout for Carlisle.
Very rare time that Beltran has been made to look bad on a swing this season. That's the kind of start he is off to, and how terrific he has been offensively.
So now Sheffield, who was right in the middle of that 4-run fourth with a single to center field. 1 for 2 on the day. Braves starter Jojo Reyes went 3 innings plus, allowed 5 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, no strikeouts. Left in front, but with the runners that he left on base is now on the short side. 1-0 to Sheffield. Buddy Carlisle pitched in the big leagues when he was 21 years old with the Padres back in '99, but didn't last long in San Diego and wound up pitching 2 years in Japan for the Hanshin Tigers before making his way back to the big leagues in '05 with the Dodgers. Taken low, and it's 2-0. And there's a strike with a slider. 2-1.
Nice crowd for an afternoon game here in the middle of the week.
It's beginning just about the same crowds every day. 38, 39,000. A little bit short of the sellout. Capacity at Citi Field officially is 41,800.
Well, you know, it is not a bad seat. Well, I'm sure some people will complain, but I tell you what, all in all, this stadium to me is superb. The upper deck seat is a good seat as well as the box seat.
Popped up. Stays in play for Chipper Jones. And Sheffield retired for the second out. So 2 away. Castillo still at first, and now David Wright, who hit a single into center field his last time up. That was the last man JoJo Reyes faced before he was chased. It's going to be a while before the Mets have another home game.
That's a long road trip they're going to embark on, that's for sure. Very unusual. They're going to have to fly coast to coast.
10 games in 11 days starting tomorrow night in San Francisco. And the Mets don't get back home until Monday the 25th, Memorial Day, against the Nationals.
They get the off day traveling from Los Angeles to Boston.
Now, if Ryan Zimmerman keeps his hitting streak going between now and the time the Mets get home, he'll be right around 40 or 41.
Close to Pete.
Pete Rose had a 44-game hitting streak. To left field, Garrett Anderson lines it up, and Wright retired to end the inning. So a leadoff walk, but the Mets can't move Castillo. 5 in the books now at Citi Field. Mets hanging on to a 6-5 lead. Here's your Aflac trivia question for today. Who are the only 2 players to lead the major leagues in batting for at least 3 straight seasons?
What was that question again?
2 major leaguers who led the major leagues in batting for at least 3 straight years. Line to left by Prado. Sheffield moving back, and he's just tall enough to grab it. Good reaction by Sheffield on a rocket hit by Prado for the first down.
Well, nice read by Sheffield. It's all about getting to the ball. Nice over the shoulder catch. So 3.
Eric O'Flaherty up in the Braves bullpen.
3 years in a row.
At least 3 years in a row. Leading the majors in hitting. David Ross hits one sharply, but Castillo's got it on a hop. And quickly Stokes has retired the first two in the sixth. Time to go to the studio and check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break.
All-time 3.
All right, thanks very much, Chris. Now Jordan Schaefer bats with 2 out and nobody on. Schaefer has been up twice, flied out both times. If he keeps the inning going, Greg Norton has come out on deck to pinch hit for the Braves. There's Norton, the switch hitter. Well, Stokes has faced 3 batters and retired all 3. Came on to get Matt Diaz out on 1 pitch to end the 5th with the tying run in scoring position. And now has set down the first 2 in the 6th. There's not been a lot of work for Bryant over the last couple of weeks. But he finally gave up an earned run for the first time this season, night before last. He has been very, very good when called upon.
Well, he was a workhorse last year in that bullpen down the stretch. Pitched well. Remember, they got him from Tampa, and he just had a horrific year at Tampa. And boy, he came over here, and he's found a home. He's got guts. He goes after hitters.
Good off-speed pitch to get Schaefer to end the inning. First strikeout for Stokes. 4 up and 4 down for him. So Stokes adding some stability to the game. The Grand Slam kid Tatis will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. Great place, great seats, and a great time. Visit Mets.com or get to the phone at 718-507-TIXX. Home 6th inning, and the left-hander Eric O'Flaherty comes on to pitch, even though Fernando Tatis is set to lead off.
And Castro behind him, 2 right-hand hitters. Pitched a third of an inning last night, got the out. And here's the blow of the game right now. That's a deciding factor. Buddy Carlisle, deep part of the park. Grand salami.
Nets were down 4-2, and with that swing, they were up 6-4. Tatis' 7th career grand slam, and the Mets' 2nd this season. So it'll be Tatis, Castro, and Church up against O'Flaherty. After Buddy Carlisle worked 2 innings in relief, the only hit he gave up was the Tatis grand slam. And Fernando takes ball 1. Bobby Parnell getting ready to pitch the 7th inning for New York. And has become his niche. I asked Jerry Manuel before the game today whether Frankie Rodriguez was available after working 2 innings last night, and Jerry said he wasn't 100% certain, but he thought that Frankie would be able to pitch today since he had had so much time off before last night.
He would rather not.
It was the first time that K-Rod had worked 2 innings in a game since 2007. And the last 2 times that he did it, worked a 2nd inning for the Angels, he gave up a run, but not last night. And so he wound up picking up his first win as a Met.
And that was a 2-out rally for the Mets there.
Tatis to center field. In comes Schaefer, but he'll have to play that on the hop. And so Tatis has his 2nd hit of the day, a leadoff single. That'll bring up Castro, who has fly deep to right and drawn a walk 0 for 1.
And O'Flaherty's going to have to keep an eye on Fernando. Fernando likes to steal a base every now and again. He got picked off last night in the 9th. Got caught stealing. The pitcher picked him off.
Picked off by the lefty Mike Gonzalez, and now another lefty on the mound. Castro playing for the first time in 4 days. Remember, he left his last start on Saturday with a tight quad. Wasn't really much, but it took him out of the lineup and gave Omir Santos another chance to shine, which he did the last 3 days. And Castro back in there today with a day game after a night game.
It's a very elaborate beard there he's sporting. Very geometric.
Wasn't that long ago that facial hair was discouraged.
Look at that. That's perfect lines. That's very intricate and detailed. Don't know if I'd have the patience to do that.
Snap throw, and Tatis is back. Well, you tend to be an impatient person.
That's some serious work right there.
Think that was professionally done?
I don't know. I know a lot of guys that have beards or mustaches that are very, very meticulous with their grooming of it.
Seems as though there's been significant facial hair experimentation on this team this year. It's been a theme. Good off-speed pitch by O'Flaherty, and it's 1-2.
Church, he's sporting the half goatee there and without the mustache, just the lower half.
He told me the other day he was thinking of shaving one side but not the other.
Don't do it.
Well, he figured that he would leave the beard on the right side facing the pitcher, so it still looks scary.
That's all superstition. I shaved my mustache twice in my life, my career, in the midst of a slump. Regretted it every time.
1-2 to Castro, and again he fouls it off. Just because you weren't hitting.
I was in a slump. Figured I'd change it. Bad slump. Did it in Chicago.
Are there any pictures?
No. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Chicago, huh?
Yeah. I sure did.
Probably did it when you didn't have a whole lot of sleep.
No, actually, well, I don't remember.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Chicago for changing your look, because I'll never forget the time that Mike Piazza bleached his hair when we were in Chicago. And, nobody in the stands knew, as Castro just got a piece of that. Nobody in the stands knew that Mike had done it. We knew because we'd seen him in the clubhouse before the game. And at one point, there was a foul pop-up, and so he pulled off his mask and his helmet flew off, and all of a sudden everybody at Wrigley Field could see that Mike had gone blind, and there was this huge gasp from the crowd as soon as that happened. Slowly hit, but should be a double play. Infante with the turn. 6-4-3, 2 out and nobody on. So I was just wondering whether the folks in Chicago had the same kind of reaction, and you showed up without a mustache.
No, because They saw me before. How am I going to hide it? You know, wear a helmet. How are you? The fan down there waves at me.
That happens 20 times a night.
I know.
Fans are very, very intimate.
They are. When they go back to get whatever refreshments, they always say hi to us, wave.
Fans are right down below us. There's Al, our cameraman, who stands right below us.
There's cautious Al.
Come on, wave, Al.
Al, there he is.
And there are the fans.
There's the ballpark. That's pretty much our view, right?
It's all very, very cozy, very intimate. 0-1 to Church. Off the corner, and O'Flaherty even 1-1. Ryan hit one ball very well today. A long fly ball to left center that Jordan Schaefer ran down. Then he took a call third strike in the fourth. 5 hits in his last 39 at bats. Check swing and almost screwed himself into the ground. 1-2.
Up and in fastball and not meant to be up and in. It's always a tough pitch on hitters. You got screwed into the ground.
That was a nice bend. That would have worked on Dancing with the Stars.
It's amazing what you can do when you're in shape to play baseball. Your legs are so strong.
Ooh, Church taking a close pitch there after getting called looking his last time up. 2-2.
I love these shots around the ballpark here at field level.
Very pretty place.
Isn't it nice?
See the glass of the Acela Club behind the foul pole there.
It's a beautiful shot.
That glassed-in area where the Acela Club is down the line, it reminds me a little bit of Cleveland.
Yes.
Although their club is more on the third base side.
Right, it's down the left field line on the third base side. Right. This is a better viewing area for the fans.
Good pitch by O'Flaherty to get Church. And the Mets are done in the bottom of the 6th. We head for the 7th. Parnell coming in to pitch. Mets up by a run. In our opinion, that would be, which Mets pitcher had the most impressive single season in team history?
Well, we talked about that last night, didn't we? And an organization steeped in pitching. I think we both agreed, all three of us last night, that it had to be Dwight's year, 85, right?
Well, there are only 2 you can point to, I think, that dominate over all others. Doc going 24-4 in 1985, and then Seaver going 25-7 in 1969.
They were both Cy Youngers.
Well, they were. I think, you know, the argument for Seaver is that he helped them win a World Series that year. The argument for Doc is 1.53 ERA, which is kind of hard to argue with. Bobby Parnell pitching the 7th inning. Greg Norton in to pinch hit, and he takes a fastball for a strike.
And as great as that year was for Doc, and we all experienced it, it pales to Bob Gibson's ERA in 1968. Was it 1.12?
1.12, but And that was great. Look, you can't take anything away from what Gibson did, but look at the ERA in the league that year. Norton gets under one to right field, and Church battling the sunshine. Tough time of day in right field, but he turns his body properly to make the play for the first out. Well, there are some of the great years in Met history, and you know, Cohn's year in '88 extraordinary in that he started the year in the bullpen.
Yep.
Koosman 121 in 1976, and the next year, 1977, he lost 20.
Yep, I remember that. I remember David, that was pitched game 2 in Los Angeles in the playoffs. After that article was written and got the Dodgers all fired up, and David was all shook up and got his clock cleaned.
For people who weren't around then, it was Bob Clappish, right, who ghosted the article for David, and he called the Dodgers a high school team? Is that what he said? Something like that?
Got on the relief pitcher, Jay Howell, if I remember.
In comes Church to make the slide, but he can't get there, and it's a base hit for Infante.
Jay Howell was a hard thrower, a breaking ball pitcher, but that particular night, you can see this ball perfectly placed, was throwing all breaking ball. In that series, Davey Johnson had him thrown out of the game, right?
Well, because
he had
the pine tar
on his bill of his hat.
Right.
And David, I guess, made some disparaging remarks about how he was not manly throwing breaking balls. And of course, Tommy Lasorda posted that before game 2. We just barely got away and won the first game in that series on Gary Carter's single late up the middle. We won 1-0. Was it something like that? It was a tight ball game. It was him against Doc against Hershiser, if I recall. And we come away with a win in L.A. And with Cohn on the mound, our hot pitcher, and David didn't get out of the third inning or whatever after that article.
He came back, though.
And he came back in game 6.
Yeah.
We were down 3-2 in game 6 and threw a gem.
Game 6 wasn't the problem. Game 7 was.
Yeah, I made a fielding blunder in that game on a bunt that cost us. Costly bad play, mental error on my part.
Now, you know, all of us who, you know, watched that game from the outside feel as though game 4 was the game that lost the series. Do you guys feel if you had won game 4, if Socha doesn't hit the home run,
we got Doc on the mound,
that
we go 3-1, it's over.
Right.
It's over. We win in 5 and we're off to Oakland. But that's why they play the games.
And then Kirk Gibson never could have hit the home run off Eckersley, and baseball history would have been changed.
That's true. And Gibson hit the game-winning home run in that game, and it was extra innings off Roger McDowell, dead center.
And Hershiser came out of the bullpen.
Yep. Oral had a wonderful postseason that year.
2-1 to Escobar, has walked twice and grounded out. Tying run at first and 1 out. And Parnell checks in on Infante.
And that's the year that Hershiser broke the Drysdale's record for consecutive scoreless innings.
59 innings. Incredible.
Yep.
And he finished that in an extra inning game, pitching the 10th inning. 2-1, grounded to third, might be 2, but Wright can't handle the hop, and it goes right between his legs. That'll send Escobar to third with the tying run. The throw goes to second, and Escobar makes it safely into second, challenging Gary Sheffield. A very close play, but David Wright unable to come up with the tough hop. And now the Braves have second and third and 1 out.
Well, this is an in-between hop. David, a little indecisive, tough play, and they're just too quick. Up the floodgate. That's got to be ruled in error. I got to believe that. And I tell you what, very, very risky right here by Escobar. And boy, he might have been out. I think he got him on the toe, it looks like. And Infante, once the ball's going through, is going to get to third easily. Nice throw by Sheffield. Let's see if he tagged his toe.
Might have. Now they're going to walk Chipper Jones intentionally to fill the bases for Garrett Anderson. And we'll see whether Feliciano gets the call against the lefty, or whether Jerry Manuel this time sticks with Parnell.
He's going to go. I think he's going to go with the lefty here.
Similar situation 2 nights ago.
Well, one thing for sure, you're not going to let Chipper hit here.
Similar situation 2 nights ago, and Jerry brought in Feliciano to face Brian McCann, and that's when Reyes made the error, and that opened up the door on that 4-run inning. Let's check out that play at second again.
Watch the lead foot. Watch the toe. Oh boy, he's out. How about that?
Let's see if we can see from this angle. Yep,
he's out.
If he got that toe, then he's out.
Yep. Tough call by the umpire there. He got kind of blocked.
Greg Gibson, the second base umpire.
And Parnell's going to stay in here.
Dan Warth and not Jerry Manuel out to the mound, so Jerry's going to go with a different plan here and leave Parnell in to face the left-hand hitter. Let's check out the Coors Light freeze cam on that tag.
You got him.
So now bases loaded, 1 out. Mets protecting a 1-run lead. Garrett Anderson the batter, and he takes a strike at the knees from Parnell.
Let him off with a little changeup. 86 sinking, trying to get a double play. Wow.
Anderson 3 for 3 on the night, 2 singles and a double. Last 2 times he's gone to left field. Upstairs with the fastball, 1-1.
That was a gutty call right there. Good pitch. First pitch. Strike.
Infante, Escobar, and Jones the base runners. Parnell needing a double play ball. And Anderson fouls it back, and now Bobby's ahead 1-2. Matt Diaz is due up next, but Casey Kochman has come out on deck to bat for Diaz to give the Braves a left-hand batter.
One thing about Anderson, he shortens up when he's got 2 strikes. He's a tough out with 2 strikes.
1-2 from Parnell. Foul back. Anderson's a guy who puts the ball in play. Doesn't walk very much.
Doesn't show a lot of emotion when he plays neither. He's very laid back. And you see the defense there. Beltran very deep straight away in center, and big gaps in left center. Big gap in left center field.
Again, the 1-2 from Parnell. Fouled again, and it's still 1-2.
Oh, he's coming right after him inside.
Peter Moylan standing around in the Braves bullpen.
Warming up in checkpoint Charlie.
Well, the Mets bullpen is quiet. Jerry said today he has the confidence in Parnell for him to work a full inning in these kinds of situations, and he's letting Bobby do just that. 1-2 to Garrett Anderson.
Going back in.
In the air to center field. That'll tie the game. Beltran under it as Infante tags. Infante comes home. The throw goes to second, and the sacrifice fly by Garrett Anderson ties the game at 6-6. Third RBI of the day for Anderson. He only had 5 this season when play began.
Well, pretty professional at the bat right there. That ball had too much plate, but he fell behind early, 1-2. Fouled off around 3 pitches, and everybody's going to be tagging up. Nice at bat.
So Anderson gets the run in to tie the game. Now Casey Kochman bats for Matt Diaz. Kochman, the regular first baseman, takes ball 1.
That's an unearned run, is it not, Gare?
Certainly is. Kochman 3 for 8 in this series. He's been swinging a hot bat. Got the day off today against the left-hander Nice. He pops it up. Castillo with the glasses on, drifting out. Side retired. But the Braves tied with an unearned run as David Wright's error opened the door. Anderson drives in the run. And now we're 6-6, 7th inning stretch at Citi Field. America's #1 furniture retailer of the year and the official furniture store of the New York Mets. Changes for the Braves. Jeff Francoeur comes in to play right field. He'll bat 9th. And on to pitch is the side-arming Australian Peter Moylan.
Well, Moylan, off the surgery that ended his season last year, has come back rather quickly. He has pitched in both games in this series.
Faced just one batter each time. He got Santos to ground out on Monday night, and then yesterday he walked Alex Cora in the 8th inning, the only man he faced. Daniel Murphy will come up to lead off for the Mets as a pinch hitter.
It's good matchups for the Mets hitters here. Submariner, sinker ball pitcher. It's got to throw away, and all the left-hand hitters. Murphy, Reyes, Castillo, Beltran. That's a tough assignment for Moylan.
It'll be Murphy, then Reyes and Castillo. Murphy started last night with 0 for 3 before leaving for a pinch hitter, something we've rarely seen. Murphy's hit the skids, just 1 for his last 18. His average of .277 on the year. And Murphy lifts one along the left field side, and that'll head toward the tarp and go out of play. Our chipper found a souvenir, gave it to the fan. Very nice of him.
What was Chipper's comment in the paper, Gary, about that stolen base? He thought he had the Beltran out in the stolen base.
He said, we played a perfect game and we had it taken from us. He said, I've never had a player slide into my glove with the ball in it and haven't been called safe.
Oh, gosh, you need that pitch. It's hard for a Submariner to get the ball inside to a left-hander, and boy, I thought he got it there, and Murphy got the call.
1-2 for Moylan. Breaking ball pulled foul.
Misplay there by Victor.
Victor is generally very sure-handed.
Yes, he didn't play the carom well there.
Moylan, the 4th Atlanta pitcher of the afternoon. He's ahead on Murphy, 1-2. And Daniel punches one right at the shortstop. Wow. And Escobar picks it off for the first out.
Well, nice at bat. It's a big hang with him for Daniel. But it's a rocket right at the shortstop.
So 1 out and nobody on. The Mets led this game 6-4 after trailing 4-2. J.J. Putz getting ready to pitch the 8th inning. And now the Braves with a run in the 5th and an unearned run in the 7th have gotten even. Reyes a double and a walk today, 1 for 2. And he fouls off Moylan's first offering. The Atlanta starter JoJo Reyes went 3 innings plus, allowed 5 runs and 4 hits. Buddy Carlisle 2 innings, 1 run, 1 hit, and then Eric O'Flaherty pitched a scoreless 6th. And now Moylan working the 7th.
Corners in on both sides for Reyes.
Slap to third, over the bag, and a fair ball down the line. Reyes heads for second. Quick throw by Anderson is offline, gets away, but Reyes will hold right there as Prado backs it up. And Reyes has his second double of the day. Why did Chipper pull his glove out of the way?
Oh man, he made a major miscalculation.
Did he think it was going to be foul?
Yes.
Oh, look, he allocated.
I don't think he would have had it, but he's got to be guarding the line. I'm sorry. For me, 7th inning on, tie ball game, 1-run lead. You've got to guard the lines. Nice backing up there by Prado at first base. You always got to back up that throw.
So Reyes has his 3rd double in the last 2 days. Go ahead run at second with 1 out. Here's Castillo, who tripled in a run back in the 1st. 1 for 2.
That outfield defense. This time I agree with Garrett Anderson in the left, where he's playing Castillo maybe too much in the line, but boy, Schaefer's got to get over here. Bring your outfielders over.
And Anderson could actually play even more shallow in left field against Louis.
Yes.
Mets now with 7 hits. The Braves have 8. A base hit could give the Mets the lead. And Castillo takes a fastball for a strike. To Castillo.
And Omar Infante, we watched it last night when Beltran stole 3rd. And Infante at 2nd is really got to pay a lot of attention to Reyes, and he is.
Reyes with 11 steals, tied for the league lead. Castillo slaps one toward the hole. Escobar going to 3rd, and Chipper with the tag, and Reyes didn't slide. What is that? That's the 2nd out of the inning. Reyes, for some reason, did not slide and easily tagged out by Chipper Jones.
Well, I know he knows that he made the base running blunder, because the rule is anything hit to the right of the shortstop, you don't advance if you're a runner on 2nd. He knows he made the mistake, and he compounds the error by not sliding.
Second time in 2 days that Reyes has made an out at 3rd base on a base running mistake. So now Castillo at first with 2 out.
Tell you what, the nice play, nice backhand by Escobar.
Beltran takes ball 1. Beltran has walked twice, scored a run, and struck out 0 for 1. Carlos began the day leading the National League in batting at .374. See if Castillo tries to swipe one here. He's going. Pitch a strike. Throw by Ross right on the money. Wow. Castillo's out. A perfect throw by David Ross to end the inning. 2-6 on the caught stealing, so an inning that looked promising for the Mets disappears. Ross guns down Castillo, and we head to the 8th at Citi Field with the Mets and Braves still tied at 6. Mets and Braves tied 6-6. There's that play at second base with Castillo.
Did he make the tag? And it's not John McEnroe at the net.
It's a soft touch, but the ball beat him by so much. You mentioned McEnroe. Is he in the building today?
Someone mentioned that possibility. Yeah.
Oh, look.
There he is. Yeah.
How are you?
How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
6-all, top of the 8th. That's my perfect timing.
6-all, right?
Yeah.
It's a tiebreaker.
Well, that's why I'm here. I want to come when these counts. What was that play with Reyes? So that was a pretty bonehead play, wasn't it? I know I'm allowed to say that.
Yes.
You guys can't say that, but that didn't make sense to me.
It was a boo-boo.
If you're on second, right, there's one out, shouldn't he wait a little bit, dare the guy to see if he's going to throw it, then try to go to third, like hold off and like fake it or something? I mean, that would seem like be the play to me. Not that I know anything about baseball.
Well, you're absolutely right. You don't run
this guy to my right,
right, Keith?
Well, I tell you, I saw John play baseball. He played in one of our softball games. He played first base. It turned a double play.
It was not a softball. It was a hardball.
That's right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Come on.
Another lefty first baseman, huh?
No, I was a lefty pitcher as a kid, so I'm not a lefty first base. And then I thought maybe I'd be the first lefty shortstop. But I think I picked the right sport.
Prado rifles one to left. Sheffield chasing back, and he won't get it. It short hops the wall, and Sheffield then bobbles it coming off the wall, and Prado settles for a double. So a leadoff double off J.J. Putz in the 8th inning, and the Braves have the tie-breaking run in scoring position.
And we'll see how Bobby Cox plays this with David Ross up. If he plays conservative here and bunts him over, I think he's going to.
Here's your IO pitch differential.
This is not like John when he used to serve people out of the sideline there.
Where I placed the serve well is what you're saying.
Yes.
I placed it well. This is a premium on placement. That wasn't very well done. What about getting Sheffield out now in the 8th, right?
Well, it's a tie game. You'd like to keep his bat in, wouldn't you?
What's he batting?
Well, not very well, but he's a threat. Well, now
I turned 50 in February.
John, it's time for the drop shot. Ooh, but Ross swings away, 0-1. So Bobby Cox opting not to bunt with Ross.
Well, probably because Jordan Schaefer is having such a tough time so far with over 40 strikeouts on the year in the on-deck circle.
Well, the Mets are not convinced. They'll keep the corners in, protecting against the bunt. And he was ready to bunt, 1-1. Tatis charging from first. And Ross taking a long look down at Brian Snitker, the Braves third base coach, to see what's on here. There's Schaefer on deck. Bunt is on, and Ross pops it up. And on comes Putz to make the play for the first out. There's a big out for Putz as Ross couldn't get it down.
Absolutely. Well, it's like your drop shot, John.
My drop shot on the senior store. Yeah.
So Putz gets the first out of the inning. And now Kelly Johnson will come up to bat for Jordan Schaefer. Johnson sitting today with the Mets starting the left-hander Jonathan Neese. And getting the chance here as a pinch hitter. And Johnson's actually hit better against lefties this year than he has against righties. But comes on here to face Putz with the go-ahead run at second base. And another left-hand hitter, Brian McCann, has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. So Bobby Cox pulling out all the stops using his last two position players here in the top of the eighth.
Well, he's managing to win here. He wants to take this series.
And Putz throws a slider for ball one. Well, JJ gave up a run yesterday in the eighth inning, giving up doubles to Escobar and McCann. And now the leadoff double to Prado has put him in jeopardy again. Now Putz behind on Johnson, 2-0.
Got himself in a nice hitter's count here. You got McCann in the on-deck circle. That's plenty of protection. You don't want to deal with McCann. You're going to go after Johnson here, who's been struggling. So you've got to be sitting some serious cheddar right here.
To Johnson. And he hits one to deep right field. Back goes Church. It's over his head and off the fence. And that'll give the Braves the lead. Prado in to score. Johnson into second with a pinch hit RBI double. And Atlanta goes back in front 7-6. So a couple of rockets off Putz here in the eighth inning by Prado and Johnson combined to play to run.
Well, 2-0 had to come in with the fastball, and he got it up and over the middle. And it looks like Johnson is starting to come out of his slump. Prado, I don't know what he's thinking there, but he didn't think it was off to hit that good. That ball was crushed, but he scores anyway.
That's a home run at Shea Stadium, but
yes, it is.
With that recess in right field at the Mo zone, Johnson settles for the double. Well, J.J. Putz struggling for the second straight day. Let's check in with Kevin.
Guys, I had a very honest conversation with J.J. today, who admitted that he's still trying to get used to pitching in the eighth inning. That's the bottom line. He said, you know what, my fastball is at 94, 95. It's usually at 98, and I really think the adrenaline adds a few more miles an hour to it. He's like, I've embraced the role. I've tried to get myself ready to go, and I feel like I've pitched relatively well, but he said there is that something missing, and I'm just trying to find it. So a pretty open admission by JJ. Not that he's not embracing the role, but he is missing that ninth inning feel of closing out the game, guys.
Now Jerry Manuel is out there. When Jeff Frank Kerr and Peter Moylan came in together, they first announced that Frank Kerr was hitting ninth and Moylan was hitting fifth. And there was another announcement in the press box that it was the other way around. And I think Jerry's just trying to make sure the Braves aren't batting out of order here, which if they were, he should have waited till Moylan did something, because you get no relief unless you catch them after they bat out of order. In any event, Moylan will bat here with the Braves now in the lead. They had McCann on deck to pinch hit when the game was still tied, but now that Bobby Cox has himself a lead, he'll leave Moylan in the game.
Well, I bet you Bobby Cox wishes he had flip-flop now.
So Frank Kerr is in the 5-hole and Moylan in the 9 spot, at least according to Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire. He's the only one that matters. Moylan goes around and it's 0-2.
That's a handcuff. He's a pitcher, though. He's forgiven.
Puts ahead 0-2. Misses high to Moylan. Well, last night JJ gave up a pair of doubles to Escobar and McCann, both well hit, and he's given up a couple of well hit doubles in the 8th inning today.
So he's trying to get used to the 8th inning as opposed to the 9th. I mean, shouldn't that be easier?
Should be the same.
Should be the same, yes. He's having a tough.
Less pressure.
Well, it means you eat breakfast a little bit earlier.
God, we got to have a talk with him. It's a pretty good gig.
Well, were there guys in your career who were better in the 4th set than in the 5th?
Now you're going to make me think here.
Up and in, and it's 3-2 now to Moylan. So Put's really struggling here, trying to put away the opposing pitcher, a guy who barely ever swings the bat.
There probably were, but there was probably guys that you wouldn't want him to play the 5th. You know, better in the 4th, probably end the 5th. He's probably better in the first couple. So those are the guys you want in the 7th or 8th. The guys that are better in the 4th and the 5th. I like, by the way, where the visitors' bullpen is. I must say, I love the stadium. Particularly that they're sort of out of sight, out of mind.
Well, they certainly can't see the game.
That's like, you know, it's Checkpoint Charlie over there. It's like
it's a
the Berlin Wall.
A mere mystery back there. Moylan giving a pretty good accounting of himself in this at bat. The former Australian pharmaceutical salesman fouls one off.
Well, he's got Putz in a situation where he has to throw the fastball. He can't walk him.
A troubling inning for Putz. After the Braves got an unearned run in the 7th to tie it against Parnell. 7-6 Atlanta, 8th inning. And it's in there for a call, strike 3, and Moylan down looking for the second out. So 2 away. Let's go to the studio and check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, Chris, start of a 10-game road trip for the Mets, 4 in San Francisco, 3 in L.A., and 3 in Boston. And they were trying to finish this homestand on a positive note, having won 6 of the first 7, but now trailing in the 8th inning. Here's Omar Infante, and he takes a slider for a strike. Infante has singled and doubled and scored 2 runs. He's 2 for 4.
It's games like this, Gare, that with the 12 pitchers on a pitching staff now, 7 guys in the bullpen. Games like this, you miss having that extra bench player. I forced Bobby Cox to hit his pitcher, bring in Brian McCann back. He got the lead. Instead of, if you had another bench guy, you can pinch hit McCann right there if you want and try to break the game open. Don't like 12 pitchers. I think you can get by with 11.
Well, when you were playing and teams routinely carried 10 pitchers, you had 7 bench players.
Yes,
which made a huge difference. I mean, it's different in the American League. You've got teams over there who carry 13 pitchers, and they've got 3 bench players because you use the DH.
It changes the whole program.
But you don't need a bench there.
Right.
Puts ahead on Infante, 1 and 2, trying to put the 8th inning to bed. He struck him out, and the inning is over. So Putz gives up a run. The Braves take the lead. Hey, John, thanks for swinging by.
Very good seeing you, Keith. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
And remember, yesterday the Mets came back for the first time.
That's right.
After being down in the. Okay, so there's still hope.
And that sounds like an omen, because here's Beltran coming up in the bottom of the 8th. John McEnroe knows, folks. Who drove in the go-ahead run stays in the game at second base. Omar Infante moves from second base to center field, and on to pitch is Rafael Soriano.
Well, Soriano, of course, they got from Seattle a couple years ago. Had the arm problems, the arm surgery. He's a hard thrower. And again, Gary, I got to reiterate, Bobby Cox last inning, lack of bench, had to let Moylan hit, and he winds up taking him out. Usually in the old days, when a pitcher hit, he would stay in the game.
Well, here's the other thing. With Jordan Schaefer having left for the pinch hitter, the Braves outfield defense is very questionable. Carlos Beltran leads off the home 8th. You've got Garrett Anderson, who doesn't have much range in left. Matt Diaz, who's not a very good outfielder in right. And Omar Infante, who's an infielder playing center. Beltran has walked twice and struck out today. He was at the plate when Castillo was caught stealing to end the 7th. Boy, Soriano gets even 1-1.
Boy, Soriano, I'm going to tell you, he throws hard. He had an impressive outing the first game in the series, just overmatched Met hitters. And there's Frankie Rodriguez up.
Beltran pops one up foul. That'll head for the seats. 1-2. Soriano in his game on Monday night allowed a leadoff single to Alex Cora and then struck out the next 2 hitters, Reyes and Castillo, before getting Beltran to fly out to end that inning.
And he fell behind the count in all 3 batters.
Pitcher looks like he's ready to throw a sinker. Sometimes the best move is to put yourself in. 1-2 just off the plate. 2-2 to Beltran. Braves have used 5 pitchers this afternoon. Mets trailed 2-0, tied it, trailed 4-2, took the lead on Tatis's grand slam 6-4, but Braves adding single runs in the 5th, 7th, and 8th out the lead. Beltran gets under one to right field.
Boy, he had a good cut at that one. Just got under it.
And Francoeur puts it away for the first out. So Beltran retired, and now Sheffield. Gary's 1 for 3 on the day, had a base hit and scored back in the 4th. You know, this is a day the Mets should win, because we've had an embarrassment of riches here. Steve Summers and John McEnroe in one day.
Yes.
It's hard to beat.
Outstanding.
Here's Sheffield, and he takes the strike.
It just shows the diversity that New York has. All the wonderful people that live in the New York area.
It also shows how, you know, what a man about town you are, that you know them all.
Oh.
David Wright on deck.
Well, John McEnroe is a huge Met fan. You know that.
Sheffield hits one deep to left center field. Looking up at the wall, and it's out of here! Sheffield ties the game with his second home run of the year. Career home run number 501. And it's 7-7.
Well, all that work with his father, swinging like Hank Aaron, level on the high pitch. Well, this is a classic example of why this man has over 500 home runs in his career.
And a clutch home run for Sheffield. His first home run of the year also tied a game. Ball one to David Wright.
A high fastball. Look at that level swing. Don't have to swing up to hit a home run.
So Sheffield gets the Mets even. Now Wright swings and misses 1-1.
Oh, there you go right there. I'll get the Mets going. That's the kind of wins. They can come back and win this one. They're coming from behind.
Breaking ball strike. It's the first home run that Soriano has given up this season. And a big one for Sheffield. Hitting cleanup today. And making like a cleanup hitter. And right down swinging at the fastball. That's the second out of the inning.
Well, don't throw it. Here for Soriano's reaction, he knows.
It's a big ballpark, but it's not that big. So now Tatis, who gave the Mets the lead back in the fourth with his 7th career grand slam. Tatis 2 for 3 on the day, has his average up to 353. He takes a breaking ball strike. Back and forth with these two teams all day. 7-7 in the 8th. Toward the hole, Escobar on the backhand. The running throw on a hop can't be handled by Prado, and Tatis arrives safely. It'll be scored a base hit for Tatis, his 3rd hit of the game.
Well, if you're going to give a long hop to your first baseman, you've got to give him kind of a longer hop than that. Although Prado is not a first baseman, that's not that bad a throw. That should be made. That's an easy long hop right there. But then again, Prado is a middle infielder.
So the Mets have the go-ahead run aboard with 2 down. Now remember that Casey Kochman pinch hit for the Braves in the last half inning. They could have left Kochman in at first base. He's a much better fielding first baseman than Prado. Castro 0 for 2 and a walk as Tatis is chased back. Mets still have most of their bench available, although they are playing a man short with Delgado unavailable. Now tipped 0-1 to Castro. Frankie Rodriguez getting ready to pitch the 9th inning for New York. Fouled off, and it's 0-2. Mike Gonzalez blew the save in the 9th inning yesterday. Soriano blows one in the 8th inning today. As K-Rod gets ready after pitching 2 innings last night to get the win. 0-2 to Castro, and it misses away. And now it's 2-2. Brian Church would be next. Church hitting 8th in the order. Tatis hops back to the bag. Braves went to the bullpen early today as the starter JoJo Reyes lasted just 3 innings plus. Two struck him out. Fastball thrown by Castro to end the inning. But the Mets get even on Gary Sheffield's 2nd home run of the year. For Sheffield, career home run number 501, and it comes in a big spot in the 8th inning. Now we head to the 9th with the Mets and Braves tied 7-7. Field with Kevin Burkhardt, presented by New York City Union Carpenters and Contractors.
Guys, we've talked a lot about how this ballpark is built on the outside, but some of the real benefits of the players are on the inside, including a 3,700 square foot batting cage. Just 20 steps from the dugout inside, 20 feet, I should say. There's a speed track in the batting cage. I was down there for 3 innings, at about the 5th inning to the 8th. There were guys in there all the time, and it's such a big change from Shea when guys had to run down the hallway a lengthy way. They couldn't do this. Now guys, right before they bat, will go in and take about 5 hacks and come out and be fresh and ready to go. Certainly something that they did not have at Shea. It's being very well used, and because of that proximity, you can go in there and take a couple of rips. And again, it's very big. 2 regulation pitching mounds. You can take live BP, or you can take it off the machine, and the Mets are taking advantage of it. See if it pays off in the 9th, guys.
I love the sound of that pitching machine. Here's Yunel Escobar leading off the 9th against Frankie Rodriguez, who deals inside for ball 1.
Well, the one thing about, if you look at Frankie's numbers here, he has just been everything advertised. 9 for 9 in saves, and another inning's work after 2 last night.
Again coming in, a chance to win or lose today in a tie ball game in the 9th. And Escobar takes the breaking ball for a strike. James Parr, the right-hander, up in the Atlanta bullpen after Soriano gave up the lead in the 8th on the Sheffield home run.
The batting cages. A lot of hitters don't like hitting off of iron mics, we used to call them, the old-fashioned, because you don't get a motion. The ball just kind of pops out of nowhere, and you don't have the real sense of a pitcher's windup.
Escobar hits a liner into the left field corner, and that settles down for an extra base hit. Escobar hits to second. Sheffield with a strong throw, but not in time. And Escobar has led off the 9th inning with a line double.
I tell you what, this young man is impressive. And that ball into the corner, short hops the wall. Nice throw by Sheffield here. And this young man can hit. Up and in fastball, what he just turns on it. Look at that beautiful balance. Falling back. Very Joe DiMaggio-like.
Third double of the series for Escobar, who's 6 for 12 in the 3 games, and now the tie-breaking run in scoring position for Chipper Jones, who's working on a perfect day. 2 doubles, a sacrifice fly, and an intentional walk. Well, Frankie pitched 2 innings last night and gave up leadoff hits in both innings. He will not pitch to Chipper here. He'll get his second intentional walk of the day.
Oh, that's a little respect right there, coming from Jerry Manuel, with a left-hand hitter behind Chipper. And Chipper, of course, 3 for 3 with a double, 3 RBI.
And so that'll set it up for Rodriguez to face his old Angels teammate Garrett Anderson with 2 men on.
I'm sorry, Chipper's 2 for 2 with 2 RBI. I was looking at Anderson's day.
Anderson's had a tremendous day.
Well,
there's ball 4. So the 3 and 4 hitters have combined to go 5 for 5 with 5 RBIs. And Frankie will try and change that here as he takes on Anderson with 2 on and nobody out.
Well, the old teammates are facing each other. And the one thing about when you're facing an old teammate is that you've probably never faced him before, although we faced him this series. So that's always an advantage to the pitcher. But as far as because he's a teammate as a hitter, and I'm sure it's the same as the pitcher, you've got to eliminate all that past history. You're here to get a base hit, and you can see right there, pretty much straight up. Defensively.
Anderson flied out against Rodriguez last night in the 10th inning, and he fouls off the first offering here, a fastball.
There's Mr. Francoeur.
Getting ready for his first at bat of the game. Oh, 1 to Anderson. Fouled away, and now Frankie's had 0-2.
Oh, unusual here. Frankie going 2 straight fastballs. Might have been down. It is a tough pitch to lay off. Frankie would love a ground ball right here. Anderson doesn't run well. The leg injury.
Escobar at second, Jones at first, nobody out. 0-2. Line right field. It'll stay up for Church. Going back to tag Escobar. He's going to try for third. The throw by Church. He may get him. He's out! On the fly. Ryan Church comes down Escobar for the double play.
Well, you're wondering why Jerry Manuel wants Ryan Church in that lineup. That's one reason right there, the arm and the glove. He has got such a quick release. Now he misses the cutoff man big time here. And that's a base running blunder by Chipper. Chipper should have read that throw. And really, I question Escobar challenging Church's arm.
So 2 out. Chipper still at first. Now Jeff Francoeur up for the first time.
Oh, Rick K-Rod loves that.
Well, you got to know your outfielders if you're a base runner. And Church, along with Francoeur, they've got the best arms in the league. Francoeur takes up and in for ball 1.
I'm a bit surprised. Chipper is such a good base runner. That ball, he tagged up. And he could have advanced up and seen that the throw was over Reyes' head, that he could have been on second base.
You think that he was surprised that Escobar went, maybe?
That's assuming.
Yep. Frank Kerr with the big cut, 1-1.
Boy, plays. Let's watch Chipper here, see what he does. It's a routine fly ball. He goes and tags up, but doesn't see. He just kind of assumed there.
Yeah. I think he didn't think Escobar was really going to go, that he was just trying to draw a throw. 1-1 to Frank Kerr is away, and it's 2-1.
Well, instead of 1 out, first and second, your Mets are 1 out from getting out of this inning.
Escobar trying to be aggressive, but he picked the wrong guy to challenge. Frank Kerr 1 for 9 in this series. And the curveball in for a strike. 2-2.
Well, this has been a series here. Look at this curveball, buckled Frank Kerr. This has been a series with a lot of outfield assists.
Jordan Schaefer had 2 of them last night.
Frankie Rodriguez strikes out Jeff Frank Kerr. And now the Mets will come up in the bottom of the 9th looking for a second straight walk-off win. Ryan Church with the great throw to save the Mets. And now Church will lead off the bottom of the 9th for New York.
Two players to lead the majors in batting for at least 3 straight years. What do you got?
I was wrong.
You didn't have. I bet you guessed Gwynn and Boggs, because that's who I guessed.
I was going to say Stan Musial.
Career did it 3 straight years. Cobb won 11 American League batting titles, including those 6 in a row. James Parr, whom the Mets beat up on in a start last September, will come on here in relief in the bottom of the 9th. Not Mike Gonzalez. They'll save the closer for in case they get a lead in extra innings, and they'll roll the dice with Parr in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, it'll be appropriate if Mr. Church can hit a walk-off home run.
And Church got a huge hand as he came to home plate after that great throw from right field. Jeremy Reed has come out on deck to pinch hit, and then Jose Reyes in the bottom of the 9th. Church 0 for 3 today, and he fouls off the first offering from Parr, 0-1. There's Reed waiting on deck. And Church takes outside. Parr has been a starter throughout his professional career. If you look at Sean Green, the next man up in the Mets bullpen. Parr just 23 years old from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Fastball line, base hit. So Church follows up his big defensive play with a leadoff hit in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, most importantly, Gary, opposite field, ball away, goes right with it. Oh boy, just off the glove of Chipper.
Don't forget, right after the game, Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda will have all the highlights, interviews, Jerry's post-game reactions We'll hear about a big offensive day for the Mets. Tatis with the grand slam. Sheffield with the tying home run. We'll hear from all of them on Lincoln Mercury post-game live right after today's game. Well, with the base runner aboard, Jerry will send up his best bunter, Alex Cora, to try and move Church over. He had Reed in the on-deck circle, but once Church got the hit, he changes up to Cora.
Well, it's a bunt situation, and you see Chipper right there aggressively in. You've got a bunt to the first base here to force the first baseman has to hold the runner on. You've got a first baseman who is a middle infielder playing out of position in Martin Prado.
Cora already has 3 sacrifices this year. Reyes waiting to follow. And Cora gets down a beautiful bunt. Prado collides with Parr, but still makes the play. 3-4 on the sacrifice. Little confusion there on the part of the Braves, but it doesn't cost them.
Well, I said he had the bunt down the first base line. What a professional he is. See, the Chipper has no one to hold on, can really play aggressive, but the first baseman is always going to be late coming in. Oh boy, a collision right there. It happened to me once with Ed Lynch.
So now let's see how the Braves decide to play it. You've got first base open, Reyes at the plate, and Castillo on deck. And it looks like they're going to go after Reyes.
Oh, you don't want any part of Beltran in this inning, Gary. If you walk one, you're going to get Beltran up.
Reyes has 2 doubles and a walk today, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Mets last night posted their 2nd walk-off win of the year, and now trying to do it for the 2nd straight day. Church at second and 1 out. 7-7 bottom of the 9th. And Reyes takes high, 1-1.
Oh boy, see David Ross look back at home plate umpire Ted Barrett.
You don't often see the catcher turn around. Normally if they have something to say, they'll say it without turning. Parr, the 6th Atlanta pitcher of the day. And Reyes takes a strike, 1-2.
I wonder what Jose's looking for up there.
Castillo on deck. He drove in the tying run yesterday. Down the middle. Now it's 1-2. And Reyes takes low. 2-2. See what Jose has done lately with runners in scoring position. 15 RBIs out of the leadoff spot already this year.
Another big gap in left center field. Garrett Anderson just playing right down the line and left.
Reyes foul tips it, held by Ross, strike 3.
How about that?
That's the 2nd out of the inning. So Parr throwing the fastball gets Reyes.
Fastball outside corner, belt high, foul tipped it.
So that'll bring up Castillo, who tripled in a run back in the 1st inning. 1 for 3 on the day.
Now Garrett Anderson's been playing here all day. Now this is the right way to play Louis. But now okay that Schaefer's moving over.
I would move Anderson even further in. Because a base hit in front of him and Church could score the winning run.
I would move Schaefer over a little more in the gap. Move the whole outfield over more and don't throw an off-speed pitch.
Of course, you got Infante in center field now. Ball 1 to Castillo, and you have to figure Parr is going to be aggressive with Castillo, especially after seeing what happened last night with the walk to Castro in front of Beltran, who then walked to win the game. Beltran looming on deck. One and 0 to Castillo. And he watches wide, 2-0.
Well, you got the guy in the on deck circle. Good pitch to hit. Don't want him any part of this inning.
Do you think there's any chance Louis swinging on 2-0?
If I'm managing, I'm the hitting coach, I want him hitting here.
But him, do you think he's hitting 2-0?
I wouldn't be surprised. He's been more aggressive this year.
Yeah.
I want him swinging the bat here.
Louis certainly has done that well. He's hitting .322 on the year, .375 with runners in scoring position. Church at second, 2 out. All right, down the middle for a strike, 2-1. And another strike, 2-2.
Oh, similar at bats to Reyes. Taking 2 strikes.
Taking fastball. So now Parr has worked back even. 2-2 to Castillo. Breaking ball just missed. And a full count, 3-2.
Did you see the expression on Ross? Watch David Ross, the catcher. Look at this. It's like you're killing us, Ted. It's like you're missing a good ball game.
Dropped his head in disgust. 3-2 now to Castillo. He struck him out.
Wow.
Back-to-back strikeouts for James Parr as he gets Reyes and Castillo to get through the inning and send us to extra innings for a second straight day, tied at 7. Giants coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. only on SNY. John Maine starts that series against Jonathan Sanchez. Start of a 10-game road trip, and boy, the Mets finishing up this homestand in dramatic fashion, coming from behind yesterday to win in extra innings, and coming from behind today on the Sheffield home run, and again we're in extra innings.
Well, it's kind of ironic that Chipper said earlier that he misses the competitiveness of the Mets and Braves in the series of old. How it's the Phillies and the Mets now. Well, this has been a terrific series, one of back and forth, neither team quitting.
Well, both teams have had to come from behind today. Mets were down 2-0 and 4-2 early, took the lead 6-4, fell behind 7-6. And now we're 7-7 in the 10th, and Sean Green will pitch for the first time in this series.
And Sean's having a tough run at it right now. You see the hits, 420 hits in 14 innings. They're trying to get him straightened out.
His last time out on Sunday, he gave up a 2-run homer to Nate McLouth in the 9th inning. Martin Prado leads off in the 10th. Prado 1 for 4 on the day, double to lead off the 8th, and then came home with what at the time was the go-ahead run against J.J. Putz. And Prado takes a strike. So each team has now used 6 pitchers on the day. Jonathan Neese started for the Mets, went 4 2/3, charged with 5 runs and 7 hits. And so the Mets had to go to the bullpen early. There's a good breaking ball for a strike, 1-2 to Prado. Ryan Stokes faced 4 batters, retired them all. Bobby Parnell gave up an unearned run in the 7th. Putz was tagged for a run in the 8th, and then Frankie Rodriguez worked out of trouble in the 9th, helped out by Church's fine throw. Breaking ball drilled to left center. Over goes Beltran to the gap to run it down. 1 out.
Well, Carlos gets a good jump on it, and routine for him, the Gold Glover.
There have been a lot of well-hit balls today, haven't there?
Yes, there has been.
So now David Ross who was 0 for 4. Ross last time up tried to sacrifice and popped up the bunt attempt against Putz. And the breaking ball in for a strike. And Green throwing more breaking balls today. Kelly Johnson hitting 8th in the order on deck. If anybody gets on in this inning, the pitcher spot would come up, and there's one player left in the Atlanta dugout, and that's Brian McCann, their regular catcher. And he already has a bat in his hands. 2-1 now to Ross. David Ross is dangerous. He had a few years back with Cincinnati. He had 21 home runs in less than 300 at bats. So he'll take his hacks. He has 3 home runs already this year. And he takes that fastball for a strike. 2-2.
Well, Ross has a tough time with the pitch upstairs. Good fastball upstairs. Hasn't got a very fast bat. Good off-speed hitter.
2-2 slider misses as Ross held the swing, and it's 3-2. All the Mets left in their bullpen now are the 2 left-handers, Feliciano and Takahashi. Putz has already done his work. There's Feliciano up, but not throwing. But if McCann comes up, they'll want to have Feliciano ready. 3-2 to Ross. He walked him. So Green got ahead in the count and then loses David Ross. So the go-ahead run at first with 1 out, and Kelly Johnson will come up, and that's going to be it for Green. They'll bring Feliciano in with Johnson coming up and probably McCann behind him. 2 left-hand hitters for Perpetual Pedro. So Green faces 2 batters. He'll exit. Still 7-7 as we play in the 10th at Citi Field. By Geico, by Sponge Tech, by Toyota, and by Acela. It's been a rough go lately for Pedro Feliciano.
Well, he's been touched for the long ball off the left-handers in particular.
And he comes in to face the lefty Kelly Johnson with the go-ahead run at first and 1 out. And Johnson grounds one down to Tatis. Gets the out at second. Reyes the relay, not in time. So Ross is erased for the 2nd out as Johnson reaches on the fielder's choice.
Nice play by Tatis here. Routine ground ball, but I'm talking about the throw. No wasted motion. Good hard throw right to Jose. Oh boy,
he was
Jose.
off the bat.
Yes, they could have called that. Now they give him a wiggle room here all the time, the umpires, on double play, but the throw here gets him off the base. They could have called that. Ross has got a slide, doesn't he?
There's been a dearth of sliding. Here's Brian McCann, and he grounds one to the right side. So Feliciano comes in, throws 2 pitches, and gets 2 outs. And we head for the bottom of the 10th inning. Beltran, Sheffield, and Wright, heart of the order as the Mets try and win it. Going overtime. Mets won it in the bottom of the 10th yesterday, and they'll try and do it again today.
Beautiful sight there.
Perfect day for a ride on the ferry. It was not a perfect night last night for Jeff Bennett, who walked in the winning run in the 10th inning.
Well, he's back out there today because it's extra innings, and he took the loss yesterday. He suffered the loss, I should say, on only really 1 hit. He walked 3 guys.
Well, the guy he walked to force in the winning run, Carlos Beltran, will lead off against Bennett in the 10th inning today. Carlos today 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. It'll be Beltran, Sheffield, and Wright in the bottom of the 10th. That's given it their best shot. Beltran 2 for 6 in his career against Bennett as he stands in. And he takes up high for ball 1. Both bullpens, both benches depleted as we play in the 10th inning. The Braves in their bullpen have only their closer Mike Gonzalez remaining. Mets have Reed and Santos left in the dugout. And the Mets have only 1 reliever remaining. That's Ken Takahashi.
It's usually in my time, when you had the bench emptied like this in your bullpen, you were in the 14th, 15th inning.
Well, managers deplete their bullpen so fast now. It's hard for them to have anybody left for extra innings. 1-1 to Carlos. Line the other way, a base hit. So Beltran with his first hit of the day, and the Mets, as they did in the 9th inning, get the leadoff man on in the 10th.
Good hitting right here. We know Carlos is a high ball hitter, but I've never seen him go the other way as much as he has this year. Look at that. That is beautiful. That is his intent. And even though you're a power hitter and a third place hitter in a game like this, when you lead off an inning in the extra innings or late in the game, you've got to put your thinking cap on that you're a leadoff hitter. Start the rally.
Well, Beltran had a key stolen base last night. Gary Sheffield, who tied the game with an 8th inning home run, takes high for ball 1.
Well, this was a bomb right here. High fastball out over the plate. Second home run of the year, and a big one.
Sheffield now with 501 for his career. Beltran last night stole third base in the 9th inning to set up the tying run. David Wright waiting on deck. Behind him, Fernando Tatis. Each team now with 7 runs and 11 hits. Let's hope this 10th inning rolls lucky for them. There's a strike, and it's 1-1.
Got to keep the ball down on Sheffield.
Carlos Beltran, that's what he's done this year. 88% success rate for his career, the best of anybody in history with at least 200 steals. 2-1 now to Sheffield.
Good pitch to get Beltran in motion here.
That's trying to beat Bennett for the second straight day. On 2-1, Sheffield takes low, and so Bennett falls behind Sheffield 3-1.
Got to believe they're going to put Carlos on his horse on this pitch.
Three and 1 to Sheffield. And he takes a strike, 3-2. He thought he had ball 4. He was on his way.
Wow.
But Ted Barrett called him back.
That's a major deke right there. It didn't work. This is right down the pipe. That's a strike.
Might have thought it was low, but I don't think it was. So now Beltran almost assuredly will run. 3-2 and nobody out. Not going, and he struck him out. So Bennett comes back to strike out Sheffield for the first out of the inning.
Boy, surprising that Carlos was not in motion. 3-1 and 3-2, and fortunately for the Mets, not the case.
Sinker by Bennett for the first out.
Made a pitch, didn't he?
That's 8 strikeouts for Atlanta pitching today. So now 1 out and 1 on for Wright. David 1 for 4 on the day, singled and scored back in the 4th.
God, you'd like to hit and run here. David of old, you'd hit and run here.
As he has most of the day, Frank Kerr is playing very shallow in right field. David very capable of hitting the ball over his head.
And playing like David's an opposite field hitter too. I just would take the gaps away from David. That right center field gap. Oh, good pitch.
1-1. Which David did hit it over Frank Kerr's head yesterday in the 7th inning. The ball took a funny carom off the wall, and David wound up with a triple. Beltran, the potential winning run at first with 1 out.
Each team with 11 hits and 7 runs.
One to right, fouled away. And Bennett's ahead 1-2.
I like Bennett's stuff. He throws hard, Gary. He just got to throw strikes.
Fernando Tatis has already had himself a big day. He's waiting on deck. One and 2 to right. Away with the fastball, 2-2. 94 from Bennett. David's got a good batting average 7th inning and later, but not a whole lot of productive hits. 2-2. Inside of Hill, got him on the hand. Wright will go to first base, and now you just hope he's all right. Might have got him on the arm rather than the hand. Bobby Cox, I believe, is going to argue that David swung at this pitch.
No way. No way. That hurts. He's telling him to ask first base umpire for help. And Ted Barrett, the home plate umpire, saying no, he did not swing.
It's only a half-hearted argument for Bobby Cox. So that moves the potential winning run into scoring position. They're still feeling some pain. So the Mets are a base hit away from winning this game. Tatis already 3 for 4 today, including a 4th inning grand slam. Beltran scrambling back to the bag, although nobody was covering.
Well, I would hold Beltran here because if you double steal, they're going to probably walk the bases loaded. Then when pitch to Castro, who's a double play guy.
Broken back grounder right near the bag for Escobar. He turns the double play, and we will head to the 11th inning. 6-6-3 on the double play. Still tied at 7. Field. Fernando Tatis and Gary Sheffield with big home runs. Tough day for Jonathan Neese in his second start, and Chris and Bobby will have all that. The highlights, the interviews, Jerry's reactions on Lincoln Mercury Postgame Live coming up after the game. Now Pedro Feliciano came on to get the 2 left-hand hitters out to end the 10th inning. Now he'll have to face right-hand hitters as he stays on for the 11th. Infante, Escobar, and then Chipper Jones.
Infante 2 for 5 on the day with 2 runs scored.
Mets playing in the 11th inning for the first time this year, and Infante takes ball 1. The Mets' 2 prior extra inning games last night and the one in Philadelphia both ended on a bases loaded walk. Mets lost 1 and then last night won 1. Breaking ball grounded out to short. Reyes waits on it and throws out Infante, 1 out in the 11th. Now Escobar has had himself a big series. Had a double to lead off the 9th inning against Frankie Rodriguez, but then made a base running mistake and was thrown out at third by Ryan Church. That looms as a huge play in this game. Escobar 1 for 3 on the day, 6 for 12 in this series. And he takes a strike. Mets bullpen is quiet. The only reliever Jerry Manuel has left is Ken Takahashi. And Takahashi, a guy's been a starter in the past, and that's usually the game plan, especially if you're the home team. You save your innings guy for last.
Exactly.
Can't always do that if you're the road team because you're saving your closer for last, because you might have to protect the lead, something the home team never has to do in extra innings. Two and 1 to Escobar with Chipper Jones to follow. And that misses, and Feliciano behind ball 3, 3-1. That's intentionally walked Chipper his last 2 times up.
Wouldn't you?
Yes. 3-2 now to Escobar. Mets are playing their 33rd game, and Pedro Feliciano's been in 19 of them. Last year set a club record with 86 appearances, and he's on a pace for more than 90 this year. Three and two to Escobar with one out. And he walked him. So Escobar walks for the third time today. And the Braves have a one-out base runner for Chipper Jones. Chipper, 2 doubles, 2 intentional walks, and a sacrifice fly today. He's driven in 2. He's scored 2.
Oh, it's playing with fire. Walking someone ahead of Chipper Jones.
Chipper is 4 for 12 in his career against Feliciano. And the first pitch well outside. Ball 1. You got the left-hand hitting Garrett Anderson waiting on deck.
Playing very deep in the outfield. Church deep. Beltran deep. All outfielders deep.
And you see the shadows of the light towers now encroaching on the third base line. Hit to center field. Back goes Beltran. Should have room. And he runs it down for the second out. Chipper's hit a lot of balls the last couple of days in that very direction. And this one comes up a little short. Now they're 2 away.
Well, we're in Turner Field or Shea Stadium. Chipper's had a 4-home run day.
So now 2 out, and now Feliciano back to his comfort zone, faces the left-hand hitter Garrett Anderson, who has also had a big day. 3 for 4, 3 RBIs. His last time up, he hit the fly ball to right that Church caught and then threw out Escobar at third base. Garrett Anderson is closing in on 2,400 hits for his career. He's been a hit machine for 15 seasons. Takes ball 1. First 14 of those in Anaheim. Very strange for Garrett Anderson to be not only in the National League but with anybody other than the Angels. Now Feliciano's behind him 2-0. You got the right-hand hitter Jeff Francoeur hitting in the 5-hole behind him. So this is the guy that Pedro wants to go after. 2-0. Bounce down to first for Tatis. And so Feliciano, after getting 2 outs in the 10th, gets 3 more in the 11th without allowing a hit. And the Mets get another chance to win it in the bottom of the 11th inning. As we go to the bottom of the 11th inning, and Jeremy Reed is going to bat for Ramon Castro. So that means that the Mets will use their last 2 available bench players if this game goes to the 12th inning, because Reed batting for Castro, that means Santos will come in as well. Mets playing a man short with Carlos Delgado unavailable because of his ongoing hip problem. So Reed, who started the last 2 games and swung the bat very well, he went 3 for 6 in those 2 games, will bat for Castro leading off the bottom of the 11th. And Reed takes up and away for ball 1. Ryan Church next, and then the pitcher's spot, which means presumably Santos would bat there. Half cut, and it's 1-1, and the Mets get their last remaining reliever, Ken Takahashi, up in the bullpen. Takahashi would pitch the 12th inning if it gets that far. 1-1 to Reed, and he lifts one to left field. Garrett Anderson ranging in, and that's the first out. See the shadow from the corner now, engulfing left field. It's the first time we've played this late in a day game that we've seen these kinds of shadows become an issue, and you got to figure right field's got to be awfully tough right now.
Well, the shadows are definitely, they always go over the third base line, third base dugout.
Church is 1 for 4, singled his last time up. You see the light towers forming the shadow on the third base line. This ballpark is turned just a little bit to the counterclockwise compared to Shea Stadium. Grounded out to second base and rolls right to Kelly Johnson for the second out. At Shea, the shadows from the grandstand would come straight out from behind home plate. But because this stadium is turned a little bit, now you get the shadows coming in from the third base side. So 2 out and nobody on, and now Santos will bat for Feliciano. So that means that both managers have now cleaned out their benches, unless somehow Delgado is available to swing the bat. There's a good shot of those shadows,
which makes it very, very difficult for right field, as Gary mentioned.
Santos started each of the last 3 games behind the plate and has swung the bat very well, hitting at .283. He already has a home run this season. That was the Mets' first grand slam of the year. They have their other grand slam today off the bat of Tatis. And Santos takes ball 1. So if we go to the 12th, the Mets will have a new battery. Santos will catch and Takahashi will pitch. And you got to go beyond Takahashi. I'm not sure where you go. It would have to be a starting pitcher, and the guy whose throw day it is today is Johan Santana, who's not scheduled to pitch till Saturday.
And if you're wondering why Jerry pinch hit for Castro, Castro's got the tender quad, and it's 11 innings. I remember my dad called me one time, that long game we played in Atlanta with the famous game with the fireworks going off at 4 in the morning. Gary Carter caught that whole game.
But he had rain delays to rest him.
Yes. My dad called me and said, I can't believe Davey let Gary with his knees catch that entire game.
2-2 now to Santos. And Jeff Bennett, a bounce back effort so far here after giving it up yesterday on walks. David Ross out for a conversation. The Mets trailed in this game 2-0 before they ever came to bat. They tied it up at the bottom of the first. They fell behind 4-2 before Tatis's grand slam put them up 6-4 in the 4th. The Braves went up 7-6 before Sheffield's home run tied it in the 8th. Now we're in the 11th. 2-2 to Santos, up and in. If Santos gets aboard, Jose Reyes would get another turn. Reyes already with a pair of doubles today. 3-2 from Bennett. Foul back. Someone asked Jerry Manuel the other day, what do you know about Santos before spring training? He said, well, I didn't know anything. I knew that they told us in the organizational meetings that he couldn't hit at all. He has since found out differently.
Well, he's off hot.
Shallow right field for Frank Kerr, who was playing shallow, and that ends the inning. So we've played 11 now at Citi Field, longest game in Citi Field's young history, and Takahashi will pitch the 12th. Omir Santos stays in the game to catch after pinch hitting. And the last man left in the Mets bullpen, Ken Takahashi, will take over the pitching.
Well, Takahashi's last time out was the first game in the series, and that Met loss. He got touched up for the first time. Gave up 3 hits in an innings of work, 2 runs and a walk. And he's out here and will be the pitcher of record.
Jonathan Neese started, went 4 2/3, allowed 5 runs and 7 hits. Brian Stokes retired all 4 batters to face him. Bobby Parnell gave up an unearned run in the 7th. J.J. Putz was touched for the go-ahead run in the 8th before the Mets tied it. K-Rod worked out of trouble in the 9th. Sean Green faced 2 batters in the 10th, was bailed out by Feliciano, who faced 6 batters and retired 5 of the 6. Now Jeff Frank Kerr leads off the 12th against Takahashi and lifts one to right center. Beltran and Church converge, and Beltran makes the grab. 1 pitch and 1 out. That is a very similar ball to one that Beltran and Church let drop against the Pirates over the weekend. Not this time. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Martin Prado, who is 1 for 5 on the day, doubled and scored what at the time was the go-ahead run in the 8th. Takahashi, the 40-year-old rookie. And he throws ball 1 to Prado.
Well, one thing that Takahashi does, and that is he throws strikes. As he throws 2 balls in a row.
Takahashi was in spring training with Toronto, but he was hurt for most of the spring. He had a leg injury, and so didn't pitch all that much, and the Blue Jays let him go. And so the Mets signed him right at the end of spring training. Well, Livan Hernandez standing around in the bullpen. He's scheduled to pitch Friday night, but it looks like he is the next man available if the Mets need another pitcher. One thing about Livan, he's always had something of a rubber arm. So if you're going to throw anybody out there as a starting pitcher in one of these extra inning games, he would certainly be the guy. Off the plate to Prado, and it's 3-2. Again, Takahashi pitched for the Hiroshima Taiyo Carp for 14 years. Now a big league rookie. 3-2 to Prado. And a drive in the air to deep left field. Back goes Sheffield, back near the wall, and it's out of here. Martin Prado with his second home run of the year, and he's given the Braves an 8-7 lead in the top of the 12th inning.
Wow. What a series this has been, and it's not over. Don't forget, the Mets have top of the order in the bottom of the 12th.
And in all probability, Bobby Cox will now get his closer, Mike Gonzalez, who blew the save last night, ready to pitch in the bottom of the 12th.
Tell me that bench isn't fired up.
So the Braves have another lead. They've been ahead on 4 separate occasions in this game. Mets have caught up the first 3. Here's David Ross, and he takes high for ball 1.
Well, here's a fastball right down the pipe. And there's no doubt about that.
Good off-speed pitch by Takahashi, 1-1 to Ross.
Boy, they are fired up in that dugout.
Here's your IO pitch differential.
We love this. There's where he wants it. Oh boy. A little bit up and over the middle.
2-2 to Ross. Well, Prado's not a big power guy. That's only his 5th major league home run in some 360 at bats. But he got all of that.
And that's all it takes is.
Ross down swinging for the second out.
What was that you said? All it takes in this game is 2, 3, 4 inches a pitcher missing, and that's the difference of a fly ball to left field where you get it on the label or off the barrel of the bat, the heavy, the right in the fat part of the bat where it's a home run. It's just a game of inches.
So 2 out now. Kelly Johnson up for the 3rd time. He drove in a go-ahead run with a double in the 8th. 1 for 2 since coming on. Well, the Mets in the bottom of the 12th will have Reyes, Castillo, and Beltran presumably up against Mike Gonzalez. So Jeff Bennett, who was the losing pitcher last night, now has a chance to be a winning pitcher today after pitching 2 scoreless in the 10th and 11th. And Johnson hits it hard up the middle, a base hit.
Well, Johnson's starting to swing the bat good.
So Kelly Johnson has his 2nd hit, the 13th Atlanta hit. And now the pitcher's spot is due up. And we're going to get Kenshin Kawakami, a Braves starting pitcher, to pinch hit.
I'm running out of room on my scorecard here.
So 2 veteran Japanese rookie pitchers going head-to-head here. Takahashi against Kawakami. Kawakami 3 for 11 on the year, and he takes a cut and fouls it off.
That's easy for you to say.
I just did. Not sure I can do it again. We saw Kawakami swing the bat in Atlanta when he faced the Mets, and he definitely knows what he's doing. And he fouls that ball at the plate, and it's 0-2. So Takahashi trying to limit the damage here in the 12th inning and give the Mets a chance to come back in the bottom of the inning. The 0-2 to Kawakami, and he doesn't chase it. It's 1-2. Bobby Cox ran out of bench players in the 10th when he used Brian McCann as a pinch hitter. That's why he's left using a pitcher as a pinch hitter. And Kawakami down swinging to end the inning. 2nd strikeout for Takahashi. But Martin Prado gives the Braves the lead with a 12th inning home run. Prado's 2nd of the year, 5th of his career. And now the Mets will try and come back with the top of the order in the bottom of the 12th. Gonzalez, who blew the save last night.
Yes, he did, and he can see 5 of 7 on the year. And Jose Reyes, the top of the order.
And now the shadows have become something of an impediment for the hitter as Reyes takes a strike. The shadows from those light towers now projected out between the mound and home plate.
That would be problematic for a hitter.
Reyes has a pair of doubles today, 2 for 4, and Gonzalez misses with the off-speed pitch, 1-1. Luis Castillo on deck, and then Carlos Beltran. Gonzalez working that slider away. It's 2-1. Well, they used to have John Rocker. Now they have Gonzalez, the rocker. Works for him. It's 2-2.
Well, when he had the surgery, that was out for the year, they said when he came back on rehab that he could not get his rhythm, couldn't find his rhythm coming back, so they had him rock like that, and he incorporated it into his game now. He likes it.
It's funny how those things develop. It's kind of like, Joe Morgan was always taught to keep his elbow up, so he started doing that flapping motion to make sure that he would.
Yep. I remember it well. Joe Morgan, one of the finest players I had the privilege to play against.
2-2 to Reyes. Up and away, and a full count to Jose.
Oh, he can't walk him.
Walks killed Bobby Cox last night. 3-2 to Reyes. Fouled away. By the way, I just thought I'd point this out, Keith.
Yes.
There have now been 375 pitches thrown in this game.
Okay. And guess what? We have around 6.5 hours on an airplane after this Wago.
No sweat. This will be the 8th pitch to Reyes. And he hits it in the air to deep left field. Back goes Anderson. Near the track, looking up. It's off the wall. In play. Reyes was not running hard, and he pulls into second. It scraped the retired numbers on that 16-foot fence. Reyes, I think, thought for sure it was gone, but it did not go out.
Well, it's the high fence, and that cost the home run. 16 feet high, Garrett, and played beautifully off the wall by Garrett Anderson. Don't know if Jose would have had 3 there.
Well, it's his 3rd double of the game. It came close to being a game-tying home run, and he definitely thought it was gone. He was not running.
I got to believe now that Castillo will be bunting.
Well, that's the 2nd time today that Reyes has done something on the bases that makes you scratch your head. He didn't slide in the 7th inning when he was out at 3rd base, and here doesn't run on a fly ball that turns into a double.
Oh boy.
Castillo unable to get the bunt down. 0-1.
I don't believe that Jose would have had 3 on there, but still, you got to run it out. And it's always so funny to me, strikes me as funny, that you got great bunter, a great drag bunter, and Castillo, and a lot of times the great drag bunters have a hard time sacrificing.
Louis gets this one down. The first baseman handles it. Prado gets the out at first. That moves the tying run over to 3rd. Sacrifice goes 3-4. And now the Mets are a fly ball away from tying it with Beltran coming up. Well, Beltran had the double against Gonzalez in the 9th inning last night that led to the tying run. Now he has a chance to tie it in the 12th inning. The infield comes in. Beltran 1 for 3 with a pair of walks today. And Carlos fouls back the fastball. 0-1.
And I like Carlos swinging at first pitches this year a lot. Being more aggressive at the plate.
See what Carlos has done late in games. He's been clutch. 378 with runners in scoring position. Fouls that one back. And Gonzalez quickly ahead 0-2.
Well, Gonzalez just coming right after Beltran. 2 up and in cheeses. So he's going to try to put him away. Needs a strikeout. Mets need a sacrifice fly or a 2-run bomb.
8-7 Atlanta, 12th inning. 0-2 to Beltran. Struck him out. High fastball from Gonzalez, and he gets Beltran on 3 pitches for the second out.
Wow, very hot hitter, and that is up the ladder. 2 fastballs for strikes up and in, and went up the ladder, and Beltran fished. And that, tell you what, that's a big out, obviously, and a tough hitter. But now you got to deal with this guy.
So the Mets are down to their final out, but they've got Sheffield, who tied up this game with an 8th inning home run.
Well, this game has had everything. This has been a heck of a series. It's not over yet.
Tying run at third, 2 down, bottom of the 12th. Sheffield 2 for 5 on the day. And he takes the inside from Gonzalez, 1-0.
Well, you better keep the ball down. This guy you don't want to throw upstairs. And I said he's been more of a middle-in hitter of late. Trouble with the pitch away.
Reyes faking down the line. Gonzalez stepping off, and he almost balked.
He almost balked is right. That was close. And I just can't believe that Gonzalez would not have Reyes in the back of his mind over his shoulder there as he comes to the belt.
2-0 down to Sheffield. David Wright would be next.
Kelly Johnson playing way up the middle at second base. See him right there. He's taking that middle away.
Sheffield has always been a dead pull hitter. And he pulls one foul. Got way out ahead of that and hit it up in the promenade. Almost out of the ballpark. 2-1.
Boy, the Braves would like nothing better to take this series here at City. Their first series here against the Mets at City, and cap off a terrific road trip for them. Be a 6-3 road trip if they win this game.
Each team has used 8 pitchers today. Gonzalez trying to finish it off. And Sheffield fouls it back, and now the Mets are down to their final strike.
This is mano a mano here. Just going right after Sheffield. Out of the strike zone. Good cut by Gary. I tell you what, he swung the bat good today. They're trying to get Reyes to try to draw a balk.
2-2 to Sheffield. Fouled it off. Again, well out in front.
There's Roger chatting it up with catcher David Ross, telling him to go out on the mound. He's thrown every pitch in this at bat, and there's been 6 so far, have been inside. You would think maybe try to sneak one on the outside corner here.
It's all those shadows between the mound and home plate, and you have to think that has some kind of impact.
I wouldn't throw a breaking ball to this man, not for a strike.
2-2 to Sheffield. In the dirt with the breaking ball.
Oh boy, nice play by David Ross.
With Reyes at third, tempting fate by bouncing that. But Ross did a good job.
You got to come with a fastball now. The slider way, not even. Oh boy, caromed off his glove into his throwing hand. Very fortunate for the Bravos.
Now it's 3-2. And Sheffield watches strike 3 called. A breaking ball on the outside corner, and the ball game is over. The Braves win it in 12 innings on Martin Prado's home run at the top of the 12th. They survived the leadoff double by Reyes in the bottom of the 12th as Gonzalez strikes out Beltran, and Sheffield back to